Hello there, and welcome to Sleepy Science Stories. I'm glad you're here beneath this quiet stretch of evening. Maybe you're already lying down, feeling the slow rhythm of your breath. Maybe the room is dim, the air still, the window open to the cool night. Whatever your setting, you've arrived in a small sanctuary of calm, a space where time softens and the universe unfolds gently. As you settle, let your body sink deeper into rest. Each breath moves like a slow tide, in and out, easy and low. Somewhere far above, the stars drift in their own endless rhythm. They turn quietly, not hurrying, not pausing, simply being. Tonight, we travel not to a distant galaxy, but to the one we already call home. The Milky Way. Our great spiral of dust, gas, and light, the river of stars that arches across our sky, so familiar yet so vast that we still only see a fragment. For thousands of years, humans have looked up and wondered, what is this glowing band that splits the night? Ancient poets called it spilled milk, the path of gods, the seam of the heavens, the smoke of creation. But now we know it as something both more ordinary and more miraculous. Our galaxy, the structure that cradles our sun, our earth, and everything we know. If these calm wanderings through the stars bring you peace, a gentle like or a quiet tap on the subscribe button helps this little corner of the cosmos reach other sleepy minds too, one resting soul at a time. So as you rest here, let the noise of the day fade. Let the light dim softly in your thoughts. You don't need to remember every detail. You don't need to hold on to anything. Just let your awareness drift like a small planet floating through a quiet sea of stars. Tonight, we'll wander through 101 gentle facts about the Milky Way, not as a list, but as a slow unfolding story, a map told through stillness. Each fact a point of light, each moment a motion of calm understanding. For now, feel the slow spin of the earth beneath you. The ground turns, the sky slides past, and even as you breathe, you're already moving around the center of something unimaginably large, quietly, slowly, endlessly. You are still drifting, still floating in that quiet awareness of the night. The breath is steady like an orbit, each inhale returning, each exhale releasing. The air around you is still, but not empty. It hums with the same invisible calm that fills the space between the stars. And in that space, in the darkness above you, lives the great spiral we call the Milky Way. It stretches more than 100,000 light years across a bridge of stars and dust curving through the silent void. To the eye from Earth, it appears like a pale band running from one horizon to another. But that gentle glow is the collective light of billions of suns woven together into one immense cosmic river. We live inside this river, a drop within a current too vast to see from shore. So tonight we begin to picture it, not as astronomers do with instruments and maps, but as wanderers of stillness, feeling the scale rather than measuring it, sensing the structure rather than racing to understand. Let your thoughts slow, as if your mind itself is orbiting the galactic center, moving in calm, unhurried circles through time. The Milky Way is ancient, older than the Earth, older than the sun, older even than many of the stars now shining within it. Its story begins more than 13 billion years ago, not long after the first light of the universe began to break through the cooling dark. In that early time, gravity gathered the first clouds of hydrogen and helium. Small galaxies were born and collided. Clusters merged and spun slowly, finding rhythm. Out of this quiet chaos, the Milky Way began to take shape not in a single act, but through billions of years of motion. Stars formed, died, and scattered their elements back into the void. Those ashes became the seeds of new stars, new planets, new chances for life. It is strange to realize that when the Milky Way was young, there was no Earth, no sun, no sense of home. And yet, every atom in your body was once part of those early clouds drawn into being by the same quiet gravity that still binds the galaxy together today. So when you breathe in, imagine drawing in a trace of that ancient air hydrogen that once drifted through the galaxy's first dawn. And as you exhale, imagine releasing something back into that shared ocean of existence. The breath of one small creature mingling with the breath of a galaxy. The Milky Way is a spiral galaxy, a pattern of grace and rotation. From above, it resembles a glowing pinwheel, its arms sweeping outward in curves of luminous dust. But within those arms is motion stars, forming stars, fading clusters, turning in vast, gentle arcs. Each arm is not a solid thing, not a bridge you could walk upon, but a wave, a rhythm in density, where matter gathers and then drifts apart again. It is a spiral not of things, but of motion of patterns that repeat without standing still. Imagine looking down upon it, the golden center glowing, the arms spiraling outward like ribbons of light, each arm dotted with nebulae pockets of creation where new suns are born from dark clouds. Now picture yourself far from home, a small observer on the edge of one of those arms looking inward toward that brilliant core. The stars cluster densely there, their combined light forming a soft golden haze. That is the Milky Way as we see it, our edge on view from inside its thin, radiant plane. The galaxy rotates once every 225 million years. In that time, continents shift, oceans change, civilizations rise and vanish. And yet the stars continue their slow dance, untroubled, eternal in their pace. As you rest, you can imagine that slow turn our sun. Your home moving quietly through one arm of this spiral sea. A single spark among billions carried by the same ancient current. At the heart of the Milky Way lies a bar, a long luminous bridge of stars and dust stretching across the core like a spine of light. It rotates gently, guiding the inner arms into motion, channeling gas toward the galactic center. Around this bar rises the galactic bulge, an hourglass of dense stars, older and redder than those in the spiral arms. They form a thick golden sphere around the mysterious center, a region we cannot see with ordinary eyes, for it is shrouded by thick dust and glowing gas. But through infrared eyes, the structure becomes clear. A glowing core, a curved bar, streams of stars rising and falling like a slow breath of light. This is the galaxy's heart, a place of both stillness and power. Inside it sleeps a black hole. Sagittarius A, quiet for now, but massive beyond comprehension. Its gravity anchors the entire galaxy, keeping billions of stars in gentle orbit. and yet, for all its force, it makes no sound. No explosion, no roar, only the quiet pull that binds everything, even silence itself. When astronomers look at the Milky Way, they see not one flat sheet of stars, but many layers woven together. The thin disk is where most stars live, a narrow band only 1,000 light-years thick but vast in diameter. Here, spiral arms sweep through gas and dust, triggering the birth of new stars. This is where the sun moves, where the night sky gathers its brightest constellations. Above and below this disk lies the thick disk, older, quieter, filled with ancient suns. They orbit at slight angles, their paths tilted by long-ago collisions. Their light is dimmer, their lives longer, their motion slower, as if time itself drifts differently there. Beyond all of this stretches the halo, a great, faint sphere surrounding the galaxy. It holds ancient star clusters, globular clusters dense and golden, and a vast reservoir of invisible matter. Dark matter unseen but present. The halo is the galaxy's whisper, its faint echo extending beyond the visible. It is here that time feels the slowest, where motion becomes memory, and the oldest stars burn with quiet persistence. When you close your eyes, imagine yourself not in the bright disk, but floating in that halo where the galaxy glows beneath you, like a luminous cloud in the void. Every heartbeat, a soft echo against billions of years of silence. Our sun lives in a small neighborhood about 27,000 light-years from the galactic center. It resides within a minor spiral arm called the Orion Spur, a quiet lane between two grander arms, Sagittarius and Perseus. Here in this calm corridor, conditions are stable. Not too crowded, not too empty, not too near the violent starburst regions, not too far into the barren outskirts. A balanced place, a galactic suburb of gentle light. In this tranquil zone, life has had time to unfold. Planets could form and remain undisturbed for billions of years. Stars could shine long enough for worlds to cool oceans, to form minds to wonder. Our entire solar system, all its planets, moons, and history, travels with the sun through this quiet arm. At a speed of roughly 220 kilometers per second, we orbit the galactic core once every 230 million years. That means the dinosaurs, the ice ages, the rise of humankind, all have occurred during only a fraction of one galactic year. As you breathe, you are moving too faster than you could ever imagine, yet it feels like stillness. This is the paradox of the cosmos. Everything in motion, yet the sensation of complete calm. You lying there are part of that vast rotation, a cell within a living spiral carried along by the galaxy's slow, endless breath. But the Milky Way is more than a shape, more than a pattern of stars. It is an organism of gravity and time, a structure alive with motion and transformation. Each of its 100 billion stars plays a role, some newborn and hot, some fading into red embers, some collapsing into invisible remnants. Together they form the galactic ecosystem, a cycle of birth, life, and dissolution repeated across uncountable ages. Between them drifts the interstellar medium gas dust and fields of magnetism through which light travels like sound through air. This space is not empty. It vibrates with unseen energy, with the whispers of cosmic rays, with the quiet music of molecules spinning in the dark. Every point of light you see in the night sky belongs to this one galaxy. Every constellation, every known star, all are local details on a grander map. And though our telescopes now reach beyond the Milky Way to other galaxies billions of light years away, our understanding begins here in the place we inhabit. From within, it's impossible to see the whole. We are like fish in an ocean sensing the current, but never glimpsing the full horizon. Astronomers map the Milky Way through patient observation radio waves, tracing hydrogen gas infrared light, peering through dust X-rays, revealing the hidden violence of stars. Piece by piece, they reconstruct the shape of a barred spiral with 4 major arms. Its disk slightly warped its stars, numbering in the hundreds of billions. If you could rise above the galaxy and look down from afar, you would see a glowing whirlpool of gold and blue, the warm yellow of old stars near the center, the cool sapphire light of young clusters along the arms. Dark filaments of dust thread through it all like rivers in a luminous landscape. But from here on Earth, we see it differently. From our small corner, the Milky Way appears as a band, a seam of brightness across the sky. That is our perspective, a horizon of light formed by looking through the plane of our home. We see the galaxy edge on, and what appears flat is in truth a spiral depth beyond imagining. When you look toward the galactic center in the direction of Sagittarius, you gaze through clouds of dust that hide the stars beyond. Invisible to your eyes, but glowing fiercely in infrared light, millions of suns cluster there. When you look outward toward Orion or Perseus, you peer into the thinner edge of the disk where the stars grow sparse and the darkness deepens into intergalactic space. Each direction tells a different story. Each angle reveals a different layer of time. The light from the farthest stars you can see left them thousands of years ago. That means even now, when you glance upward on a clear night, you are seeing the past. The Milky Way above you is not how it is, but how it was, a memory of light still traveling through space. And yet, in that time delay, there is a strange comfort, because even as the stars move, their light remains. It lingers, offering us proof that the universe remembers. If the Milky Way could be heard, it would not sing in notes, but in frequencies of movement. The slow vibration of orbits, the gentle hum of magnetic fields, the faint crackle of energy between stars. It is a living architecture, a spiral of interaction. Every star tugs on every other, each in tiny amounts, weaving a web of gravitational harmony. Dark matter envelops it all, a halo unseen but felt. This invisible framework shapes how stars move, how the arms curve, how the disk stays whole. Without it, the galaxy would scatter apart its stars, flung into the void. So, even the unseen has its purpose, holding the visible together the way silence holds the shape of a song. Our galaxy is both ordinary and unique. One of billions, yes, but to us it is everything. Every human story, every memory, every life that has ever been has unfolded within its light. When you look at the Milky Way, you are not gazing outward. You are looking into the structure that made you. The elements in your body, iron, calcium, carbon, were forged in stars that lived and died within this same galactic ocean. To look at the Milky Way is to see your lineage, not in family lines but in starlight, not in names, but in atoms. The galaxy is the long continuity of matter, the unbroken thread that connects what breathes to what burns. Close your eyes again. Imagine the Earth below you, its oceans faint and blue, its clouds curling like miniature galaxies. Now drift higher beyond the atmosphere, beyond the quiet orbit of the moon, past the reach of the planets. Around you, the stars sharpen. They no longer shimmer through air, but stand clear and still. The Milky Way emerges in full, a luminous river cutting through the dark. You can see the depth, now lanes of dust clusters of brightness, threads of nebulae glowing faintly red and blue. Somewhere in one of those faint streaks is the sun, a single point of light among billions. And within its small orbit the Earth turns, and within that, turning, you rest still breathing as the galaxy slowly carries you along. The Milky Way is not just our home. It is our horizon of meaning. Every star you see belongs to it. Every constellation you know is shaped by it. Even the dark gaps between the stars are part of its texture. It is ancient, yet still growing. Ordered, yet ever-changing. Finite, yet unbounded in wonder. And though we cannot step outside it, we can know it not by traveling through it, but by slowing down, by noticing how it holds us, how its gravity shapes even our quiet thoughts. Somewhere as you breathe now, our galaxy turns. Every star, every cloud, every orbit moves together in vast, patient rhythm. You are part of that motion, a small note in an infinite chord. The Milky Way continues spiraling onward quietly, slowly, endlessly. The galaxy turns still, the spiral breathes, and somewhere within that motion, a quiet truth unfolds. The Milky Way is not a single creation, but a collection of countless stories joined together. Each star, each cluster, each stream of light once belonged to something else. Another system, another fragment of cosmic memory. Our galaxy grew not by standing apart, but by gathering, by merging, by becoming one from many. Even as you rest here, the Milky Way continues that slow act of becoming. Gravity draws, combines, and weaves. Nothing here is fixed. Everything flows into everything else. You are part of that flow too, made of particles that once belonged to stars, now long dissolved into the greater whole. Let your breath follow that rhythm, a merging of inside and outside, a small echo of cosmic union. Galaxies are not gentle creatures. They collide, absorb, and transform one another through encounters lasting billions of years. When two galaxies meet, they do not crash like stones. They drift through each other like vast, slow ghosts. Stars almost never collide. Space is too wide for that. But gravity reshapes them both. Their gas clouds compress, new stars, ignite their structures, distort, and blend. Over time, one galaxy may consume another, its stars becoming part of the larger system. Astronomers call this galactic cannibalism, though the word feels too harsh for something so graceful. It is more like integration, a cosmic evolution of structure and identity. The Milky Way has grown this way through patient encounters with smaller galaxies. Each merger adds a new thread to its spiral fabric, each stream of stars a faint trace of a meal long digested. So when you picture the Milky Way tonight, see not a single spiral but a gathering, a luminous archive of many ancient galaxies absorbed into one. Their light has blended their orbits, reshaped their histories, now part of our own. Every time we look up at the stars, we are looking into that collective memory, a field of ancient collaborations written in starlight. Even now, the Milky Way continues to merge. Circling our halo is a small companion, the Sagittarius dwarf galaxy. Once a modest spiral of its own, it is now stretched and torn by our galaxy's immense gravity. Imagine it as a glowing ribbon of stars wrapped loosely around the Milky Way's body. Its core still drifts nearby, but its outer stars have already joined us, folding into our halo, becoming part of the galactic chorus. This slow embrace began billions of years ago and continues still. Each orbit of Sagittarius draws it closer, its structure unraveling like silk in water. One day it will be gone entirely, its remnants dissolved into the Milky Way's heart. But its stars will live on quietly, orbiting among ours, indistinguishable now, except by their chemistry, the unique fingerprint of their birth. Even the Sun may have once passed through waves of such mergers, each encounter subtly changing the shape of our galaxy, the rhythm of its rotation, the flow of its spiral arms. So as you breathe, imagine those stars still drifting their long orbits, crossing ours in silent harmony. Two galaxies becoming one through motion too slow for the eye to see. Long before the Sagittarius dwarf, there was another greater union, a merger so vast that it reshaped the very structure of our galaxy. Astronomers call it the Gaia Sausage or Enceladus event, named for the myth of a giant and for the data from the Gaia spacecraft that revealed its trace. Around 10 billion years ago, a massive dwarf galaxy, perhaps 1/4 the Milky Way's mass, collided with our young disk. The encounter was transformative. The Milky Way's halo was stirred and expanded, its orbits tilted. Its stars, once orderly, took on new elongated paths. Even now, those ancient stars remain. They move in distinctive patterns, their orbits like stretched ellipses, their motions revealing the memory of that long-ago collision. The stars of Gaia Enceladus are among the oldest we can trace. They carry with them the chemistry of the early universe, low in metals, rich in hydrogen and helium, formed before the cosmos was mature. When you look toward the faintest stars in the halo, you are seeing the survivors of that era, ghosts of an ancient union. Their orbits cross ours like old notes in a song still echoing. The Milky Way itself, its thick disk, its central bulge may owe its very shape to that one encounter. Growth through merging, change through joining. Even galaxies evolve by the art of connection. If the sky were transparent to every wavelength of light, you would see the halo of the Milky Way alive with faint ribbons, streams of stars arcing in long curves. These are the remains of past collisions, the long tidal trails of galaxies pulled apart by gravity. Each stream is a remnant of a smaller companion, a thread of light stretched across the night. They wind around the Milky Way like delicate filaments, some looping above the disk, some sweeping beneath. We have names for some: the Helmi Stream, the Orphan Stream, the Phoenix, and Palomar streams. But there are countless others too faint to map completely. They are the Milky Way's handwriting traces of every cosmic meal it has ever shared. Through these ribbons, astronomers can read the history of our galaxy's growth like tree rings marking the seasons of its past. The halo may seem empty, but in truth it is textured with these subtle reminders, each one a memorial to a galaxy that once drifted freely, now absorbed into something greater. And perhaps there is comfort in that, to know that even in dissolution, nothing is truly lost. Everything becomes part of the larger harmony. Look toward the southern sky. There, beyond the reach of the northern hemisphere, hang two luminous clouds, the large and small Magellanic Clouds. They are not mere patches of mist. They are galaxies, our closest companions, bound to the Milky Way by gravity's unseen thread. Both are irregular, their shapes distorted by our pull. A bridge of hydrogen gas connects them, a thin arc stretching across space like a stream of breath between two voices in the dark. Together they orbit our galaxy, trailing behind them a long ribbon of stripped material called the Magellanic Stream. That stream wraps halfway around the Milky Way, a trail of gas that may one day feed our disk, igniting new generations of stars. The Magellanic Clouds are reminders that the Milky Way's story is not finished. They are mid-sentence companions still being written into the text of our home galaxy. In a few billion years, their orbits will decay. They will merge, and the Milky Way will once again absorb the light of another. Even in the stillness of tonight, that motion continues so slow you could sleep through eons and wake to find the sky subtly changed. When you look at the Milky Way, you are seeing the sum of everything it has gathered. It is a structure built from memory, each collision leaving a signature in its shape, its chemistry, its spin. The stars that make up the thick disk may have come from ancient mergers. The thin disk where our sun resides formed later, settling from clouds enriched by the ashes of countless predecessors. Even the dark matter halo that surrounds us is not uniform. It carries the fingerprints of galaxies long gone, their invisible matter folded into the Milky Way's unseen architecture. The whole galaxy is an archive, not static, but living, an evolving museum of gravity and light. And through this process, the Milky Way has grown. It has more stars now than ever before, more structure, more depth, more motion. Growth in the cosmos is never peaceful, but it is never cruel. It is patient, transformative, and bound by laws older than time. Even now, the memory of past encounters lives in the Milky Way's shape. Our disk is not perfectly flat. It ripples, warps, bends at the edges like the surface of a slow wave. This warp may be the result of recent gravitational tugs from the Magellanic Clouds or from the faint dark companions we cannot yet see. Imagine the galaxy as a great flexible sheet, its edges swaying slowly, completing a single oscillation over hundreds of millions of years. These ripples are not imperfections. They are music, low resonant tones in the structure of space. The Milky Way hums with them, and through that hum it tells the story of every interaction that has ever passed through it. You are inside that music, a listener within the chord. It's easy to think of collisions as violent and sudden, but galactic time has no rush. When two galaxies meet, their dance lasts billions of years. Their shapes distort slowly, their centers orbit one another in a long gravitational waltz. From our brief human perspective, we see nothing change. The stars above look eternal. But if you could speed time forward, you would see the Milky Way breathing, swelling, stretching, folding like a living organism responding to touch. Our galaxy is midlife, now past its chaotic youth, but still in motion, still gathering, still becoming. And in a few billion years more it will meet another partner, the Andromeda Galaxy, now approaching from across the cosmic gulf. They will merge their stars, mingling their structures, blending into one. But that is another story, a distant future in which our spiral will become an elliptical haze of starlight. For now, the Milky Way turns quietly, its outer arms stretching toward the dark. When you think of the Milky Way, do not imagine symmetry or perfection. Its arms are uneven, its edges bent, its center obscured by dust. And yet, in that imperfection lies its beauty, a record of every encounter, every force that has touched it. A galaxy is not meant to be still. It is meant to change, to collect, to transform. The Milky Way has done this, endlessly absorbing not just stars, but stories. Every merger brought new elements, new paths, new directions for life to unfold. You too are the product of collisions, not galactic, but human moments of meeting and transformation. Just as galaxies grow through connection, so do we. So does every form of life. Far out in the halo, at the edge of the galaxy's gravitational reach, there are still small companions spiraling slowly inward. Faint dwarf galaxies, shaped like spheres of old stars, awaiting their turn to join the greater whole. Astronomers have found more than 50 of these companions, tiny galaxies like the Draco dwarf sculptor, Ursa Minor, and Fornax. Each one is a faint whisper of starlight, bound to the Milky Way's unseen gravity. They orbit slowly on paths that take billions of years to complete. Some will remain forever at the edge. Others will eventually fall inward to be stretched and mingled into our halo. Even as you rest tonight, those quiet mergers continue. No sound, no collision, just motion, steady, inevitable, eternal. Every galaxy is a memory. Every orbit, every cluster is an echo of something that once was. The Milky Way remembers in its stars. It remembers collisions through the tilt of its disk, through the swirl of its arms, through the faint trails of ancient light that still orbit its heart. And you, a being made from its atoms, are part of that remembering. The same iron that burns in your blood was once part of a star from a long-lost galaxy that merged with ours eons ago. You are, in the most literal sense, the result of cosmic union matter shared, transformed, and reborn. As you breathe in this quiet moment, you are continuing that process. You are the galaxy remembering itself through consciousness. So the Milky Way grows, not in haste, not in violence, but in patience. It gathers what drifts near. It reshapes itself with every passing eon. It absorbs and creates. It remembers and renews. What we call collisions are, in truth, acts of cosmic synthesis, a universe finding unity in the joining of many parts. And just as galaxies merge, so too do nights and days, breaths and silences, moments and memories. The Milky Way turns on a quiet architect of light, a collector of everything that was and will be. And beneath it, you rest a small consciousness held within that slow, endless grace. The Milky Way still turns. Its spiral arms drift softly through space, carrying with them the faint afterglow of countless histories. Each merger, each birth, Each quiet dissolution becomes part of the rhythm, the endless pulse of a galaxy, alive in motion. And though its scale is almost beyond imagining, its motion is not chaos. It is a deep order, a pattern so vast that it feels like stillness. In that stillness, time itself takes on a different shape. You have traveled through the story of how the Milky Way formed through its collisions and gentle absorptions through the slow blending of light. Now we drift into its movement, how it spins, how it breathes, how it carries every star, every atom in orbits that repeat like the beating of a hidden heart. The sun, with all its planets and drifting dust, does not stay still. It moves around the galactic center on a long, graceful orbit. One full journey takes about 225 to 250 million years, a single galactic year. In the time it takes for the sun to complete that circle, life on Earth transforms beyond recognition. When the sun last passed this region of the galaxy, the continents were still united in Pangaea. Dinosaurs had not yet walked the land. The oceans shimmered with creatures now only fossils. Humanity did not exist, nor did any memory of us in the cosmic fabric. The sun has completed perhaps 20 orbits since its birth more than 4.5 billion years ago. 20 turns through the spiral arms, 20 long journeys around the unseen center. And in that time, the Milky Way itself has changed its arms, drifting its stars, aging its shape subtly rewritten by gravity's hand. So as you rest here, remember even now you are traveling around the galaxy, not walking, not flying, but carried quietly along a curve of space-time drawn by the weight of billions of suns. Every breath, every dream is part of that grand rotation. You are not standing still. You are in perpetual gentle motion through the galactic sea. It's strange to think that our solar system, so stable and familiar, is a traveler, a wanderer on a path that loops endlessly around the galactic core. Each orbit, the sun follows an elliptical route, sometimes drawing a little closer to the center, sometimes drifting slightly outward. It moves at about 220 kilometers per second, yet the distances are so vast that progress feels like stillness. If you could see from above, from far beyond the galaxy's edge, you would watch the sun tracing a slow golden circle, weaving through the spiral arms, skimming the edges of glowing clouds. But from here, within that circle, we cannot feel it. We sense no wind, no pull, no sound. Only the quiet gravity that keeps us bound. 20 times around the center. 20 galactic years. And in each orbit, the solar system passes through regions of varying density. Arms, thick with gas and newborn stars, and spaces between quieter, darker, where only the faintest starlight shines. Perhaps those passages shape us not directly but subtly. Comets stirred in the outer cloud, cosmic rays rising and falling, the Earth receiving more or less starlight, more or less protection. We move through the galaxy's seasons, though they unfold over eons far longer than any single life could measure. And yet, here you are, a consciousness aware of the journey, a flicker of thought in the midst of a 230 million year motion. For a brief instant, you know that you are part of a moving whole. As the sun orbits, it does not move perfectly along the plane of the Milky Way. It rises and falls gently like a small wave gliding on a larger tide. Every 30 to 35 million years, the solar system crosses the galactic plane upward through the midline, then downward again, a rhythmic motion that continues without end. You can imagine this path as a soft sine wave wrapped around the spiral orbit. The sun moves north of the plane, then south, always returning, always oscillating in balance. Some scientists wonder whether this vertical rhythm might influence life on Earth, perhaps stirring cosmic dust, perhaps altering the rate of comets that visit the inner solar system. Others see it simply as part of the galaxy's graceful dynamics, a natural wobble in a structure too vast to ever be truly still. The image is peaceful, our sun, our home, gently bobbing through the galactic sea, not in haste, but in rhythm. The stars around us share this motion, each following its own curve, each contributing to the slow breathing of the disk. You lying here in stillness are moving through that same wave. You are part of the oscillation rising and falling through invisible currents of starlight. The Milky Way's disk is not perfectly flat. It bends at its edges, lifting like a leaf in a slow breeze. One side curls upward, the other downward, a gentle, vast warp, stretching across tens of thousands of light years. This curvature might be caused by the gravitational pull of nearby satellite galaxies, the Magellanic Clouds, the Sagittarius Dwarf, and others hidden in the dark. Their combined tugs ripple through the Milky Way's disk, bending it over cosmic time. The warp moves like a slow wave, its crest traveling around the galaxy's rim once every 500 million years. It's as if the galaxy itself is breathing in a different dimension, its vast plane flexing ever so slightly in response to distant companions. To picture it, imagine a great ribbon of light spinning through space, its edges rising and dipping as though stirred by an unseen wind. That's our home, a living spiral not rigid, not perfect, but full of quiet motion. Even its imperfections have grace. Even its distortions tell a story. And within that warp, within the curvature of space and time, our solar system glides following its steady orbit through the slow tide of stars. Not all stars move at the same pace. In the Milky Way, the stars near the center complete their orbits faster than those farther out. This difference is called differential rotation, a soft dissonance that shapes the spiral pattern itself. The spiral arms are not solid objects. They are waves of density regions where stars and gas crowd together briefly before moving onward. New stars are born in those regions, then drift away as the wave passes. The stars at different radii move with different speeds, so the pattern stretches and twists a slow dance of convergence and release. Imagine watching from far above each star a note of light moving in its own rhythm, but all part of the same melody. The arms form where that rhythm synchronizes, where orbits briefly align before spreading again. This is the Milky Way's choreography, a dance written by gravity performed across billions of years. And because the stars move differently, the arms never stay the same. They shift, fragment, reform. Even the sun's path carries it through multiple arms over time. So the night sky changes slowly, so slowly, that no human could see it happen, but over eons the constellations drift. The spiral reshapes itself, and the galaxy continues its endless, elegant waltz. In human years, time flows quickly, measured in heartbeats, in sunrises and seasons. But in the life of a galaxy, time is vast and gentle. 1,000,000 years is a small ripple in its rhythm. 1 billion years is a single deep breath. The Milky Way has taken many such breaths. Its disk formed, settled, warped. Its halo spread outward. Its heart quieted around its black hole. Galactic time is patient. It waits without waiting. It turns without haste. As you listen, you might feel a sense of that patience, the way your own heartbeat slows when you align with the larger scale of motion. There is no rush in the cosmos. There is only orbit and the quiet gravity that guides it. The stars do not travel through emptiness. The space between them hums with magnetic fields, cosmic rays, and thin, invisible streams of gas. These unseen currents form a kind of interstellar weather winds that carry charged particles waves that ripple through plasma. As the sun moves through the galaxy, it sails on these currents. Its magnetic field interacts with the galactic one, creating a protective bubble, the heliosphere that shelters the solar system from much of the cosmic radiation beyond. At the edges of that bubble, the galactic winds flow around us slowly, shaping its boundary like a tide carving a shore. We drift through those invisible seas unaware, but always connected our small solar vessel navigating the Milky Way's hidden weather. Every motion in the galaxy is nested within another. The moon orbits the Earth. The Earth orbits the sun. The sun orbits the galaxy. The galaxy itself moves within the local group gravitating slowly toward Andromeda, and beyond even that, our whole cluster of galaxies is drawn toward a mysterious region known as the Great Attractor, a concentration of mass hundreds of millions of light-years away. Everything moves, everything circles, everything belongs to a larger turning. You are part of that, nesting a consciousness orbiting within a body, within a world, within a star system, within a galaxy, within the universe itself. It is all one great motion layer upon layer of revolving grace. The Milky Way remembers every path taken. The orbit of each star records its age, its origin, its history. Young stars in the thin disk move smoothly, their orbits nearly circular. Older stars wander more erratically, their paths tilted and elongated, their motion a record of ancient disturbances. Astronomers can read these motions like historians reading script on parchment. The tilt of one orbit revealing the trace of a long-ago merger, the speed of another hinting at the presence of dark matter. In this way, the galaxy's motion is also its memory. Every orbit carries a fragment of its story, every rotation, a signature of its past. If you could hear the Milky Way's motion, it might sound like the slow unfurling of wind through trees, a low vibration of time itself, a rhythm too deep for the ear but not too deep for awareness. At the galaxy's heart, motion behaves differently. Closer to the core stars race around the central black hole, completing orbits in just a few years. They move at thousands of kilometers per second, their paths curved by a gravity so intense that even light cannot escape beyond its edge. And yet, the region appears quiet. No visible chaos, only soft radio murmurs and faint X-ray echoes of the past. Every orbit near the center is a testament to balance, the perfect curve between falling and flying. Each star traces the same unspoken law motion, as harmony, gravity, as song. Our sun, far away, moves much more slowly, but it obeys that same law, the same quiet mathematics that binds every particle of the galaxy together. Even as the galaxy moves, its shape persists. The spiral remains reborn through each rotation. Dust clouds drift and disperse. Stars age and fade. Yet the pattern endures, not because the same stars remain, but because the motion recreates it. It's like watching waves form on an ocean. Each crest dissolves, but the sea keeps its rhythm. The Milky Way's spiral arms are like that, not fixed structures, but repeating patterns of creation and release. Stars flow through them born within their density, then drifting outward as new stars form behind them. The galaxy sustains itself through motion alone. Stillness would mean death. Movement is life. Consider your heartbeat again. Its rhythm keeps you alive. Each beat carries oxygen, warmth, and balance. Now imagine the heartbeat of a galaxy, not in seconds, but in millions of years. Every orbit, every rise and fall through the galactic plane is one pulse of that vast organism. Its heart, the black hole at its center, beats in silence, drawing everything into order. Its body, the disk, spins and hums a fluid of light and gravity. Its halo, the unseen aura, binds it all together, the way breath binds life to motion. And here you are, a single heartbeat within that greater rhythm. Your stillness mirrors its balance. Your life unfolds within its ancient pulse. So the galaxy moves quietly, endlessly, completely. The sun orbits the center. The stars flow in curves. The disk ripples, the halo hums. Every element in motion, yet every motion in harmony. In the span of one breath, the Milky Way travels thousands of kilometers through the universe. And in the span of one life, it continues the same silent turn it has always known. Nothing in this motion is rushed, nothing wasted, nothing lost. You are part of that motion, a single consciousness riding the wave of the galaxy's slow spin. Even as you sleep, the stars above continue their dance. Even as you rest, the Milky Way carries you forward quietly, slowly, endlessly. The galaxy keeps turning. You can feel it faintly in the slow weight of silence around you. It is not a turn you can see, not a motion that stirs the air, but one that hums beneath everything, quiet, continuous, endless. From this motion, from the patience of rotation, the Milky Way's beauty unfolds. The spiral arms curved and luminous, tracing vast arcs through the night. They appear steady in every image, sweeping gracefully from the golden center outward, as if drawn by a single hand long ago. But the truth, as always, is softer. They are not still. They are not fixed. They are waves in a sea of stars. Like ripples upon water, they form and dissolve, reappearing in new shapes, carrying clouds of gas and clusters of light through cycles that last hundreds of millions of years. The spiral is an illusion of permanence, a pattern created by motion sustained by rhythm, renewed through time. To understand the spiral arms, we must learn to see not things, but movements. The density wave theory, first imagined by Lin and Xu in the 1960s, explains the arms not as solid structures, but as traveling waves of gravity. Imagine traffic flowing along a curved highway. Cars enter slow, slightly cluster for a moment, then move on again. The cars change, but the traffic jam, the dense region, remains. So it is with the stars. As the galaxy rotates, gravitational waves sweep through the disk. Gas clouds entering these waves are compressed, and from that compression, new stars ignite. Then the gas moves onward, leaving the bright young stars behind a glowing trail marking the passage of the wave. So, what we call a spiral arm is not a fixed lane of stars, but a pattern of higher density moving through the galactic disk like a sound wave traveling through air. It is motion creating form order, born from rhythm. The Milky Way hums with it, a slow song of gravity singing its spiral into being. If you could listen across time, you might hear the galaxy's melody, a long, low harmony, where stars are the notes and the arms are the chords. They briefly form before drifting away. When we look at images of the Milky Way, we often see four grand spiral arms: the Perseus, the Sagittarius, the Scutum Centaurus, and the Norma. But the truth is more intricate, more mysterious. The arms are not uniform. They split, reconnect, fade, and reappear elsewhere. Some are long and well-defined. Others branch and fragment, becoming delicate filaments of starlight threaded between larger streams. No one knows exactly how many arms our galaxy has. Two major arms are clear near the center, but farther out they fork and tangle, their edges woven with smaller spurs and bridges. Our sun resides on one such spur, a quiet lane called the Orion Arm, a short fragment between giants. This uncertainty is not failure, it is truth. Galaxies are not diagrams. They are living, changing structures, where no boundary remains fixed. When you gaze at the Milky Way in the night sky, you see those blurred divisions, the dusty lanes, the bright knots of light, each a snapshot of a pattern that will someday drift into a new shape. The stars you see tonight may belong to an arm that will not exist in another 100 million years. Even the Orion Spur, our home path, is a temporary eddy in the galaxy's flow. The Milky Way is never static. It breathes its form into existence moment by moment, turn by turn. Here within this vast spiral, our solar system drifts quietly inside a modest branch of light, the Orion Spur, or local arm. It lies between two greater rivers of stars, the Sagittarius arm toward the galactic center and the Perseus arm farther outward. We sit in the calm between them, a region neither too dense nor too sparse. The Orion Spur stretches for roughly 10,000 light-years, a slender bridge of gas dust and clusters. Within it lie familiar constellations: Orion, Cygnus, Perseus, and Cassiopeia, the constellations we trace with human stories woven from stars that share our spiral corridor. In this quiet segment, new stars continue to form. Nebulae bloom like soft lanterns: the Orion Nebula, the Eagle, the North America Nebula, each one a nursery where the galaxy renews itself. Our position here is gentle. Safe from the chaos near the core and far from the emptiness at the edge, we inhabit a middle space, a stable orbit between extremes. From this calm spur we can look both inward and outward toward the dense, radiant heart of the Milky Way, and toward the sparse frontier where the spiral arms dissolve into the halo. It is fitting, perhaps, that life arose here in the steady rhythm of a small branch balanced between order and stillness. The spiral arms are more than patterns. They are engines of creation. As gas clouds enter the denser regions of a spiral wave, they are squeezed by gravity. Their particles collide and compress until stars ignite within. These stellar nurseries glow with the faint pink of ionized hydrogen regions astronomers call H2 zones. Here the young and massive stars shine fiercely, illuminating the clouds that birthed them. But massive stars live fast and die young. They explode as supernovae within only a few million years, long before the arms wave has passed. Their deaths scatter new elements, enriching the gas for the next generation. And so the spiral arms become zones of renewal, places where the galaxy breathes in creation, then exhales new materials into space. The pattern moves onward, but the stars remain drifting out of the arms as they age, spreading through the disk until their light blends into the wider field. The spiral is not eternal, but the process is. Stars form, shine, fade, and seed the next. Each wave, each orbit continues that long, unbroken rhythm of making and unmaking. Even as you lie still tonight, somewhere in the arms of the Milky Way, a star is being born. Its light not yet strong enough to reach us, but destined someday to become part of our sky. The spiral arms look unchanging, but that is only because our human sense of time is too brief to see their transformation. If you could speed up the clock of the cosmos, you would watch the arms shimmer and twist like ribbons in wind. The stars flow through them the way sand flows through a dune, each grain moving the pattern remaining. But even dunes shift, even waves dissolve. So too does the Milky Way. It reshapes itself with every rotation, every merger, every breath of gravity. The illusion of permanence is the galaxy's most delicate trick. It invites us to see stability where there is only ongoing creation. But that illusion is not deception. It is grace. The spiral remains, not because it resists change, but because it is change. Every arm, every curve of dust and light is a fleeting expression of eternal motion. The galaxy teaches this quietly, that beauty need not be fixed to be real. That order can exist within flux. That we too can drift and evolve and still belong completely to the pattern of things. Between the major spiral arms stretch faint interarm regions, vast corridors of relative emptiness. But even these spaces are not void. They are filled with older stars, lonely travelers who have moved beyond the bright regions of birth. The Sun is one of them, a mid-aged star traveling between arms, bathed in quiet. These interarm spaces are like interludes in the music of the galaxy, moments of rest between crescendos. Here the density is low, the dust thin, the light softer. Perhaps this is why the solar system has known such long stability. In these tranquil regions, few collisions or disruptions occur. Life has time to unfold. Evolution has space to dream. It is a reminder that even the quieter parts of the galaxy serve purpose, the pauses between the notes, the silence that makes the song complete. Our Milky Way is not unique. Across the universe, billions of galaxies spiral in similar grace, each with arms of light spanning hundreds of thousands of light years. The Great Andromeda Galaxy. Our neighbor shows twin arms wrapping around its glowing center. M1001. The pinwheel galaxy unfolds like a perfect rose of starlight. Even distant faint galaxies, seen only as pale smudges, reveal that same spiral symmetry, a signature of motion repeated through the cosmos. Why do so many galaxies take this form? Because rotation and gravity, acting together over time, create patterns of balance. The spiral is nature's way of reconciling motion with stability, an equation written in starlight, solved over billions of years. When you gaze up at the Milky Way, you are looking at one example of a universal design. Every spiral you can imagine shares this same principal rotation, slowed by mass. Mass shaped by rotation motion, sculpted into beauty. In this, the universe repeats itself, not out of monotony, but out of peace, a pattern so complete that it emerges wherever matter turns. Where there is light, there is also shadow. The Milky Way's arms are threaded with dark lanes of dust-cold regions that block the stars behind them. These shadows are not emptiness, they are potential. The dust there hides gas molecules and the beginnings of new stars. When photographed in infrared, the dark lanes glow faintly red, warm with hidden energy. They are the galaxy's resting places where matter gathers and cools before the next act of creation. So even within the brightest parts of the spiral, darkness has its role. Light and shadow are not opposites here. They are partners in a continual exchange. From dust, light is born. From light, dust returns. It is the same in you, breath and stillness, sleep and waking, both necessary, both sacred. If the galaxy could speak, its voice would be slow measured in the language of rotation. It would tell you that everything moves, but not in haste. That even the grandest structures are shaped by rhythm, not speed. That permanence is not required for peace. It would whisper that arms of light come and go, that stars are born and fade, but the motion continues. The Milky Way does not cling to the stars it creates. It lets them drift, trusting that new ones will take their place. There is freedom in that. There is wisdom, too, to move forward, to release, to allow change without losing the center. The spiral teaches that truth, that the pattern survives not by holding on, but by moving through. You are lying still now, but within you, motion continues. Your heart turns, your breath moves. Your blood flows each part, circling the center of your own small universe. Outside you, the earth spins. Beyond that, the sun orbits. Beyond the sun, the galaxy turns. Every motion echoes another. Every spiral reflects the next. You are both still and in motion, both fixed and flowing. So too is the Milky Way, a stillness made of countless movements. Even the spiral arms, though they shift and reform, maintain a kind of serene continuity. They remind us that we too can live within change and still find calm at the center. The spiral arms are not fixed. They drift, reshape, and sing themselves into being through the quiet laws of gravity and time. They are patterns, not pathways. They are the galaxy's heartbeat, visible only when you slow your gaze and listen to the deep rhythm beneath. Somewhere tonight, beyond clouds, beyond cities, the Milky Way stretches across the sky, a band of light and shadow, a trace of the spiral that carries us. It appears still, but it is alive. It turns while you rest. It hums while you breathe. The arms may change, but the pattern endures, quietly, softly, endlessly. The spiral arms fade slowly from view. They drift outward into the dim edges of the galaxy, their light dissolving into the quiet dark. You can feel their motion still soft, cyclical, unbroken, but something deeper moves beneath them. Something unseen, yet essential. For every curve of light, for every glowing nebula or star, there is a hidden weight, a gravity without shine, a presence without form. It holds the Milky Way together, binding its stars, its halo, its luminous disk into a single coherent being. Without it, the galaxy would unravel. Its arms would scatter into space, and its center would lose its quiet pulse. This is the story of dark matter, the invisible scaffold of the cosmos. It neither emits nor reflects light, but its gravity reveals its existence. It is the unseen thread that keeps the spiral whole. Just as the arms we see are not fixed, the galaxy we know is not complete. It floats within a greater body we cannot see, but deeply feel. When astronomers first measured the speed of stars in the Milky Way, they expected a simple pattern. Stars near the center would orbit quickly, and those farther away more slowly, just as planets move in the solar system. But what they found was not what they expected. Even the most distant stars moved just as fast as those near the core. The galaxy's rotation curve was flat, its outer regions refusing to slow down. By all visible matter alone, stars, gas, and dust, this should have been impossible. There wasn't enough mass to hold those distant stars in orbit. They should have flown outward into intergalactic space. Something unseen must be there, something massive enfolding the galaxy in a hidden halo. This discovery reshaped our understanding of the universe. It meant that what we see, the bright spirals, the clusters, the shining stars, accounts for only a fraction of what truly exists. Most of the Milky Way's mass is invisible, silent, transparent. And yet, it is the very thing that keeps everything bound. Like the gravity of an unseen love, it holds the galaxy together without ever needing to be seen. Surrounding the luminous disk is a vast spherical halo of dark matter 10 times larger than the visible galaxy itself. If you could see it, it would stretch hundreds of thousands of light years beyond the furthest stars, a soft cocoon of gravity in which the Milky Way floats. Within this halo, the visible galaxy is just the inner glow, a candle within a glass sphere. The halo is diffuse but immense, its particles moving slowly, interacting only through gravity. We do not yet know what dark matter truly is. It may be composed of unknown particles, perhaps WIMPs or axions entities that pass through ordinary matter without resistance or reflection. Even now, as you sit still, trillions of dark matter particles may be passing through your body, through the room, through the earth itself, without ever colliding, without ever announcing their presence. They are the silent framework on which the galaxy rests. Without them, the Milky Way would scatter into emptiness. So, when you think of the spiral arms, imagine them not as floating freely, but as drifting within this unseen ocean, a luminous tide held by invisible shores. We cannot see dark matter directly, but we can observe how it bends light. When light from distant galaxies passes through a region filled with dark matter, its path curves slightly. This effect, called gravitational lensing, acts like a cosmic fingerprint, a way to map the invisible through its influence. Astronomers watch how background galaxies distort how their images stretch and arc. From these subtle distortions, they trace the contours of dark matter's hidden landscape. Through these maps, we see halos around galaxies, filaments linking clusters together, and vast webs of gravity stretching across the cosmos. The Milky Way's halo is one thread in this immense tapestry. Our galaxy is part of a network woven from both light and shadow matter and mystery. Light travels freely through it, but its journey is never straight. Every beam bends slightly, as if nodding in acknowledgement to the unseen structure it passes through. In this way, even darkness reveals itself not by shining, but by shaping what shines. The Milky Way would not exist without dark matter. Its formation, its growth, its very stability depend on that unseen mass. In the early universe, dark matter gathered first clumps and filaments, forming from the faint ripples left after the Big Bang. Ordinary matter followed, falling into those gravitational wells, cooling and condensing into stars and galaxies. Dark matter was the stage and visible matter the play. Even now it continues to guide the Milky Way's evolution. Its halo sets the limits of the galaxy's rotation. Its gravity pulls satellite galaxies inward, steers their orbits, and dictates how mergers unfold. Every collision, every spiral arm, every glowing nebula exists because dark matter silently shapes the space around it. It is the quiet architect of the cosmos, the invisible artist behind the form. If light is the melody of the universe, dark matter is the rhythm beneath it, steady, unchanging the pulse we feel but cannot hear. Even with all our instruments, the true mass of the Milky Way remains uncertain. Estimates range from 800 billion to 1.5 trillion solar masses, a vast difference, most of it hidden in the dark halo. Astronomers measure the motions of stars, the orbits of satellite galaxies, and the bending of light, trying to weigh the invisible. But the Milky Way's mass is not just a number. It is a reflection of our ignorance, a reminder that we live inside something we cannot yet fully perceive. We are like fish trying to measure the sea. We can sense its currents, feel its pressure, but we cannot grasp its total depth. Perhaps that is fitting. Perhaps mystery is the most natural state of knowledge. The galaxy carries its weight quietly, and we are held within it. Light beings in a dark ocean safe inside a structure too vast for certainty. Dark matter is not the only invisible force shaping the Milky Way. Magnetic fields, cosmic rays, and interstellar turbulence also weave through the galactic fabric. They guide the flow of gas-influenced star formation and trace invisible paths through which energy moves. The galaxy is filled with what we cannot see, a hidden dimension of quiet interactions. Every photon of starlight travels through that unseen structure, and yet we notice only the light. Our senses are tuned to brightness, but the universe is mostly shadow. Perhaps that is why the night sky feels so calm, not because it is empty, but because it holds so much silence between the stars. You breathe in that silence now. You move within it. You are surrounded by it and made safe by its still gravity. Every galaxy is a dialogue between what can be seen and what cannot. The stars shine outward, but the dark matter holds inward. One expands, the other contains. Together, they form balance. Without light, the universe would be unknowable. Without darkness, it would be unstable. Even within yourself, there is such balance between what is visible and invisible, what is known, and what remains unspoken. The Milky Way mirrors that inner truth. Its luminous spiral exists because of an unseen embrace. So when you look up at the stars, you are seeing not only the light, but the harmony between opposites, the structure that light alone could never form. The Milky Way does not float alone. It is part of a grander structure, the cosmic web, a vast network of galaxies linked by threads of dark matter. These filaments stretch for hundreds of millions of light years, connecting clusters like dew on a spider's thread. Where the filaments intersect, galaxies form. Where they thin, space opens into deep, silent voids. The Milky Way sits upon one such filament anchored with Andromeda and other members of the local group. Together, they drift within a small valley of the dark matter web. If you could see the universe from afar, you would not see isolated galaxies, but a glowing network, a cosmic nervous system firing with light at its nodes. Dark matter forms the structure. Light travels along it. They are partners in creation, motion and form in perfect equilibrium. And you, a mind within one small node of that network, are part of its awareness. A brief spark in the consciousness of a universe built from both light and shadow. Even now on Earth, we are searching for the tangible trace of dark matter. Deep underground in laboratories, shielded from cosmic noise, scientists wait for the faintest signals, a rare collision between an unknown particle and an ordinary atom. Years pass in silence. Detectors hum softly in the dark. A few fleeting hints appear and fade. No confirmation yet, but no surrender either. The search continues because we know something unseen must be there. The galaxy itself testifies. Its motions speak louder than proof. And in that pursuit, there is something almost spiritual, the human desire to understand what cannot yet be seen, to reach through darkness and find connection. The cosmos invites us to expand perception, to accept that not all that matters must be visible. Dark matter is a form of stillness. It does not radiate, does not shimmer or blaze. It holds. It gathers. It allows light to move, but never moves like light. This stillness gives the galaxy its shape, its balance, its quiet center. Even within you, there are such invisible frameworks, beliefs, memories, intentions, unseen, but supporting all that shines. You are a galaxy, two made of light and dark motion, and rest energy and quiet mass. And like the Milky Way, you are held together by forces that ask for no attention, that act without recognition, that exist simply to maintain harmony. Every time you look at the Milky Way, you are witnessing the visible half of a whole. Behind every glowing star is a silence that makes it possible. The unseen holds all things, not only galaxies, but the very structure of being. Dark matter does not resist light. It carries it. It creates the gravitational lanes along which galaxies form the invisible architecture through which beauty takes shape. Perhaps that is the deepest lesson of the cosmos, that the invisible is not absence, but foundation. That what you cannot perceive may be what keeps everything together. You do not have to see something to be within it. You already are. So the Milky Way drifts its spiral, shining within an unseen sphere. Every star you can name moves through a sea of dark matter, guided by a force beyond sight. It is the calmest kind of power, not light that blinds, but gravity that steadies. Not the spark that flares, but the quiet that endures. Even the brightest suns owe their stability to this invisible weight. And you too are held by unseen forces, by gravity, by air, by memory, by the long inheritance of the stars. The galaxy continues its turn. The arms drift. The halo hums. All of it sustained by darkness that does not destroy but preserves. It is the same darkness that fills the space between breaths, the silence that holds every sound. The Milky Way glows because of what cannot be seen, quietly, faithfully, endlessly. The unseen halo still surrounds us, dark, quiet, holding everything in place. Its invisible gravity reaches inward toward the luminous disk, toward the spiral arms, toward the very center of the galaxy. And deep within that center, where light is thick and stars are crowded, the Milky Way hides its heart. It is not a single star, nor a cluster, nor a glowing source of warmth. It is something stranger, more ancient, more absolute. There, behind clouds of dust and gas, lies Sagittarius A, a supermassive black hole 4 million times the mass of the Sun. It does not shine, but everything around it does. It bends, space curves light, and governs the motion of countless stars in a region dense enough to make night itself seem bright. This is the quiet heart of our galaxy, a paradox of stillness and gravity, a presence defined by its absence. At the center of the Milky Way, in the direction of the constellation, Sagittarius lies a zone of obscurity. Thick clouds of interstellar dust hide the core from visible light. For centuries it remained invisible, a mystery, a darkness within darkness. Then came radio waves, infrared vision, X-ray eyes that could pierce the dust. And through them, astronomers saw it a compact source of immense gravity so powerful that nearby stars whirled around it like fireflies caught in a silent vortex. This was Sagittarius A, our galaxy's black hole. It is quiet now. It does not feed often. Only occasional flares of X-ray light escape its vicinity when stray gas falls inward and is torn apart by its pull. Yet even in its calm, its influence extends for light years. Every star in the central region moves in obedience to its gravity. Every orbit, every flare of light is shaped by its silent command. If the Milky Way is a living being, then Sagittarius A is its slow, deep heartbeat, a pulse felt in every orbit, every wave of motion. For decades, astronomers watched the stars near the galactic center. Through years of patient observation, they traced their paths, elliptical loops around an unseen point. One star named S2 completes an orbit every 16 years. It races past the black hole at over 5,000 kilometers per second, then swings back into the wider cluster. By studying its motion, scientists could calculate the mass of the invisible object it encircled. No star, no cluster, no gas cloud could explain such gravity. Only a black hole, compact, immense, utterly dark, could fit the data. So we know Sagittarius A, not by sight, but by the dance it choreographs. Its presence is written in the motion of other things. And perhaps that is true for many forms of power. The strongest forces in the cosmos and in life are often those we cannot see directly. We recognize them by the way they shape everything around them. Though the galactic center is calm now, it was not always so. Long ago, Sagittarius A may have awakened, drawing in gas flaring with violent energy. Today, faint evidence remains. Above and below the galactic plane, two enormous structures rise like twin balloons, the Fermi bubbles named for the satellite that first saw them. Each bubble extends for 25,000 light-years, glowing in gamma rays and X-rays. They may be the scars of an ancient eruption when the black hole briefly blazed as a quasar, illuminating the Milky Way's halo. Now those echoes drift quietly, a reminder that even the most silent hearts can once have burned bright. The bubbles hum faintly in high-energy light filled with gas and charged particles moving at near-light speed. They are the memory of intensity fading into calm proof that the galaxy too passes through seasons of rest and renewal. And we, orbiting far from that center, feel only the afterglow. A memory of motion, a gentle pulse beneath the stillness. The Milky Way's heart is not an isolated sphere. It is connected to the disk through a great central bar, a bridge of stars and dust that channels material inward. This bar rotates slowly, guiding gas from the inner spiral arms toward the core. Through it, the galaxy feeds its center, maintaining a balance between giving and receiving. Within this region, the orbits of stars twist into complex paths, following the gravitational harmony of the bar's slow turn. Gas clouds drawn inward collide and compress, forming new generations of stars that circle near the bulge. This continuous exchange, matter flowing in light, flowing out, is the galaxy's quiet metabolism, creation and consumption woven together in balance. Sometimes the bar sends too much inward and Sagittarius A awakens again briefly luminous before fading back into dormancy. It is not destruction, but recycling. Not chaos, but balance. Even in its most violent phases, the galaxy acts with rhythm. It feeds, then rests. It shines, then grows still. Its heart, though dark, is never lifeless. To the human eye, the center of the Milky Way is hidden, its light blocked by thick lanes of dust. But in infrared wavelengths, the veil becomes transparent. There, telescopes like Spitzer and JWST reveal a world of golden stars packed 1,000 times more densely than in our local region. Star clusters swirl like glowing embers, tracing the gravitational geometry of the core. Filaments of gas spiral inward, interlacing with shock waves and winds from young, massive stars. The entire region hums with energy and motion, a furnace of life nestled within an ancient calm. In radio and X-ray light, we see magnetic fields twisting through the heart threads of invisible energy, connecting the disk to the halo, the past to the present. It is chaotic, but deeply ordered. A storm of creation bound within gravity's embrace. And at the center of it all, Sagittarius A waits, quiet, patient, its darkness shining through others' light. The galactic center is a paradox. It is both the most crowded and the most mysterious place in the Milky Way. Stars there orbit so quickly that time seems to blur. Distances collapse into gravity's curve. Everywhere, matter glows, radio, infrared, X-ray, gamma, a chorus of energy across all frequencies. And yet, beneath the roar of radiation, there is silence, the stillness of equilibrium, the peace of forces balanced across scales unimaginable. The heart of the galaxy does not beat in rhythm with ours. Its pulse spans centuries. Its breath lasts millennia. Its silence is not absence, but scale. When you imagine the center of the Milky Way picture, not chaos but harmony, not noise but order, vast, slow, intricate, and serenely complete. If you could travel from our quiet arm to the galactic heart, the journey would take you through layers of increasing density. Past the sun's serene orbit, past clusters of old red stars into regions of crowded brilliance. You would pass through glowing nebulae fields of dust lit from within streams of gas pulled into motion. The farther you went, the more light you would see, until the darkness between stars vanished completely. Near the center, the sky would no longer show constellations, but a continuous glow, as if the night itself were on fire. And there, in that radiant throng, the stars would move visibly, tracing arcs around an unseen point. Their light would bend their paths, twist their motion, betray the presence of something vast and invisible. You would reach a horizon not of matter, but of understanding, a boundary beyond which even imagination cannot travel. That horizon is the edge of Sagittarius A, where space turns inward and time loses its direction. No light escapes from within, but everything outside still feels its pull. It is the galaxy's center, and yet paradoxically, it is a place without a center at all, a hole where geometry folds back on itself, where everything that enters becomes part of the whole. Though we think of black holes as endings, they are also archives. Everything that falls within them leaves an imprint on their gravity, a faint record of energy, a trace of what once was. Sagittarius A is not a void, but a condensation of history. It holds the remains of millions of stars and clouds that have drifted inward over billions of years. It remembers in the way that gravity remembers, without words, without form, but with absolute fidelity. The Milky Way's identity is written not only in its light, but in this concentration of darkness. The heart holds the memory of the galaxy's evolution compressed into silence, and we orbit far away, beneficiaries of its stability, listeners to its quiet hum echoing through space-time. When Sagittarius A flares even briefly, its energy travels outward, rippling through clouds and fields thousands of light years away. These ripples shape the galaxy. They heat gas, ignite new waves of star formation, and sculpt the magnetic structure of the Milky Way's core. Even when quiet, the black hole exerts a subtler influence, its immense gravity stirring nearby gas, its slow spin aligning the orbits of surrounding stars. Nothing in the galaxy moves without feeling, however faintly, that central pull. It is the reference point around which all else orbits, not the brightest, but the most essential. Just as the sun governs our solar system without demanding to be seen at night, so Sagittarius A governs the galaxy from behind its veil. The heart of the Milky Way is a lesson in paradox. It is power in stillness, motion in silence, creation through destruction. It reminds us that centers are not always visible, that strength can dwell in emptiness, that gravity unseen can hold worlds in balance. You too have such a center, a still point beneath the surface of motion. It holds your being in quiet orbit, steady and unseen, while the outer layers of your life spin with activity and change. To rest there is to touch the same stillness that hums at the galaxy's heart. That center is not an absence. It is the deepest form of presence, the one that asks nothing, the one that holds everything. Astronomers continue to map the Milky Way's inner regions. The Gaia mission traces orbits of stars, while EHT, the Event Horizon Telescope, has captured an image of Sagittarius A itself, a ring of radio light surrounding a dark void. It looks delicate, almost soft, a glowing halo around silence. It is the closest we have come to seeing our own galactic heart. The image is not a final answer, but a beginning, a door opened to deeper questions. For every detail we learn, the mystery expands. The more precisely we map the heart, the more infinite it becomes. This too is the nature of knowledge, to approach, to illuminate, but never to exhaust. To circle around mystery the way stars circle their unseen center. In the galactic core, everything is held by gravity, and yet everything shines. Stars push outward with radiation, gas expands with heat, but gravity draws it all inward again. This interplay of forces is the Milky Way's equilibrium. A slow, enduring dance between expansion and containment, between radiance and restraint. Without gravity, there would be no coherence. Without light, there would be no life. The galaxy lives in the balance between the two. And so do we between the forces that draw us inward and those that lead us outward, between stillness and motion, between holding and letting go. At the center of the Milky Way, light bends around silence. Stars orbit an emptiness that holds more mass than comprehension. Time slows. Space curves. And yet, it is all calm. This heart of darkness is not fearsome, but tranquil. It governs without noise, without urgency. The galaxy turns because of it. The arms spiral because of it. We orbit, breathe, and exist within its quiet balance. Even from here, 27,000 light-years away, its influence reaches us. It steadies the rhythm of our sun, the structure of our sky, the harmony of the whole. And so, as you rest, know that you too are held by this vast stillness, a heart you cannot see, but which has always known you. The Milky Way continues its turn. Its heart remains silent. Its gravity endures. Quietly, faithfully, endlessly. The galaxy's heart still hums behind the veil. It turns slowly, holding the Milky Way together, its gravity shaping everything that moves. And yet, far from that quiet center in the spiral arms and dark nebular clouds, the galaxy's other pulse beats the pulse of creation. For if the black hole is the Milky Way's still heart, then the nebulae are its lungs breathing stars into existence, breathing them out again into dust. Through them, the galaxy renews itself. Through them, the darkness becomes light. We drift now outward from the crowded core to the glowing regions where gas gathers, where gravity begins its patient work, and where the long rhythm of birth and death shapes the eternal life of the Milky Way. In the arms of the galaxy, hidden among lanes of dust and gas, lie the coldest, darkest places we know, the molecular clouds. They are immense, stretching for hundreds of light years, and yet so diffuse that a handful of air on Earth contains more particles than a cubic meter of them. Inside these clouds, temperatures fall to just a few degrees above absolute zero. Hydrogen molecules drift slowly, frozen in silence. But even in that stillness, gravity waits. Small ripples, pressure, turbulence, a passing shock wave begin to draw gas together. The cloud starts to collapse its own weight, folding it inward. As it contracts, the center warms. The gas thickens, the molecules dance faster until light begins to stir. A star is forming, not suddenly, not explosively, but softly as gravity and heat conspire to make radiance from darkness. Around the new light disks of dust gather future planets, comets, and moons. In time, the star ignites its light, escaping the cocoon that once hid it. A nursery becomes a constellation. These clouds, the Orion Nebula, the Eagle, the Carina, the Rosette, are the cradles of the galaxy. They shimmer faintly in red and gold, lit by the ultraviolet breath of newborn suns. Their light takes thousands of years to reach us, but it still carries the warmth of creation. Each new star that emerges is the galaxy remembering itself. Each light that forms is a continuation of that endless heartbeat. The Milky Way's disk is alive with these cycles. Some stars are young, blue, hot, impatient. Others are older, yellow, steady, enduring. Some are ancient red, faint, nearly finished. They live on time scales that stretch far beyond our own, but the rhythm is constant birth, fusion, transformation, rest. A star begins with hydrogen, the simplest, the most abundant element. In its core, gravity crushes atoms together until they fuse, releasing light. That light pushes outward against the weight of gravity, and equilibrium is born. For billions of years, this balance holds. The star shines steadily, a quiet engine converting simplicity into complexity. Then, as its fuel runs low, it changes. It swells into a red giant, its outer layers cooling and expanding, even as its core grows dense and hot. For small stars, the end is gentle. They shed their outer shells, forming planetary nebulae, rings of color expanding into the night. At the center remains a white dwarf, a cinder of immense density still glowing with residual heat. For massive stars, the end is more dramatic, a collapse, a shock wave, a supernova. In that instant of death, a new kind of creation occurs. Heavier elements, carbon, oxygen, iron, are forged in the heat of explosion and cast into space. These elements become the seeds for new stars, new planets, new life. Every atom of calcium in your bones, every molecule of iron in your blood, was once made in such a star. You are in every literal sense the dust of their dying light. So when you breathe, you continue that cycle. You are part of the Milky Way's renewal, part of the process by which the galaxy creates itself again and again. A supernova is not destruction. It is the moment when a star's light becomes the light of others. When a massive star collapses, its outer layers are expelled in a wave of brilliance that can outshine an entire galaxy for days. The shock wave races outward, sweeping up gas and dust, compressing nearby clouds, triggering new rounds of starbirth. The debris it leaves behind is filled with heavy elements: iron, nickel, silicon, gold. They drift through the interstellar medium, mingling with hydrogen and helium, waiting to become part of new systems. This process is called enrichment, and it is the reason the galaxy grows more complex with time. The first stars contained only simple elements. But each generation adds new ingredients: metals for rocky planets, carbon for chemistry, oxygen for water. The Milky Way's evolution is not just structural, it is chemical. Each cycle of death and rebirth makes the next more fertile, more capable of sustaining life. When you look up at the stars, you are seeing generations layered over generations, a history written in spectra. Some stars are old and pure, some rich with the ashes of their ancestors. The galaxy is not only a spiral of motion, but a spiral of memory. Between the stars drifts dust-fine particles of silicate and carbon, the residue of dying stars. It dims the light of distant suns, absorbing and scattering their glow. And yet without it, there would be no new stars at all. Dust collects and cools gas, allowing molecules to form. It shields the fragile beginnings of new stars from radiation that would otherwise destroy them. It is the galaxy's hidden architect, its dark builder. Seen in visible light, dust looks like shadow veins of darkness crossing the bright arms, but in infrared, those same shadows glow warmly, revealing the quiet work of formation. Even light must rest. Even brilliance needs obscurity. The dust is that resting place, the gentle pause between shining and shining again. In the Milky Way's photograph, those dark streaks are not absence. They are the womb of everything to come. And it is poetic, perhaps, that what hides the stars also makes them. That creation and concealment are part of the same act. The Milky Way, though still alive, is no longer young. Its most furious era of creation lies billions of years behind it. Now star formation continues, but at a gentler pace, about 1 or 2 solar masses each year. The great clouds still birth suns, but fewer than before. The gas reserves are slowly depleting. This is the galaxy's midlife, a time of balance, of slower rhythm, of quiet endurance. The spiral arms still shimmer with new light, but many regions grow calm, filled with older stars and the faint afterglow of what once was. It is not decay, but maturity, a phase of equilibrium where creation and stillness coexist. Perhaps the Milky Way too has entered a contemplative stage, a slower turn, a quieter radiance, a cosmic breath held between what has been and what will be. Even this slowing is beautiful. Even the galaxy's pause is filled with life. Every part of the Milky Way depends on every other. Stars create elements. Supernovae spread them. Clouds collect them again. New generations arise from the ashes of the old. This is a kind of ecology, a self-sustaining balance that has lasted for billions of years. Nothing is wasted. Even death has purpose. Even destruction feeds renewal. The black hole consumes matter, but in doing so, it releases energy that stirs the galaxy into motion. Stars die, but their remains become the substance of new worlds. The Milky Way is not a static collection of stars. It is a living system, an organism of light and gravity. Every atom of your body has passed through this cycle perhaps many times. You are the continuation of this ecology, the consciousness of the galaxy looking back at itself. When stars die, they do not vanish. They leave behind reminders: white dwarfs, neutron stars, and black holes. White dwarfs are small and dense, their matter packed tightly, glowing faintly with the memory of heat. They are the embers of stars, like the sun, cooling slowly over billions of years. Neutron stars are stranger still, the collapsed cores of massive suns where matter is compressed until protons and electrons merge into pure neutrons. A teaspoon of such material would weigh billions of tons. Some neutron stars spin rapidly, emitting beams of light that sweep across space pulsars, cosmic lighthouses marking time itself. And a few stars collapse entirely, falling inward past the point of no return, becoming black holes, miniature echoes of Sagittarius A scattered throughout the galaxy. These remnants are the fossils of the Milky Way, the memory of what once burned brightly, now resting in quiet dignity. They remind us that even in death there is endurance. Even in silence there is continuation. Stars rarely form alone. They are born in groups, in clusters that share age and origin. Some remain bound for millions of years, tight glittering assemblies like the Pleiades or Hyades. Others drift apart quickly, their members dispersing into the disk, each carrying a memory of its shared beginning. These open clusters are families of light temporary gatherings in a vast sea of motion. Far older and denser are the globular clusters, spherical swarms of ancient stars that orbit the Milky Way's halo. They are relics of the galaxy's youth, each containing hundreds of thousands of suns forged more than 12 billion years ago. When you see one through a telescope, you are gazing at near-eternity stars that predate the Earth, still bound together, still circling the galactic core like pearls in a cosmic necklace. Their endurance is proof that even amid change, some forms of order remain. The Milky Way breathes. It inhales hydrogen and dust, exhales light and elements. Each star born is an inhalation of energy. Each star's death, an exhalation of matter. The rhythm is vast, a single breath lasting millions of years. But it continues, cycle after cycle, a quiet respiration of creation. Perhaps the universe itself breathes this way, expanding and contracting, forming and dissolving forever in balance. And within it you breathe too a smaller echo of that same rhythm, a reflection of the galaxy's calm persistence. You are in every breath in harmony with its motion. So the Milky Way lives through its stars, their births, their lives, their endings. Each one a note in an unending composition. Stars form in darkness, shine for eons, and return to darkness again. Dust becomes light, light becomes dust, and the cycle repeats. It is not tragedy. It is continuity. It is not destruction. It is transformation. The galaxy is an artist painting with time and matter, Its canvas is endless. Its brush is gravity. Its medium is change. And somewhere in one of its calm arms, a small star named the Sun burns quietly, its planets orbiting its light, falling gently upon one tiny world where life listens to the story of the stars. The Milky Way breathes on quietly, slowly, endlessly. The galaxy still breathes. Its rhythm of creation continues, a slow inhale of gas and dust, an exhale of light and renewal. But within that rhythm, not all stars are alike. Some belong to ancient generations formed before the spiral arms had found their grace. Some are wanderers moving against the current of the disk. Some travel at impossible speeds carried by unseen events. The Milky Way, like every living system, contains variety, each star a different story within the same vast symphony. We have drifted through the galaxy's nursery, watched its young stars form and fade. Now we wander among the elders, the strangers, the rare ones, the exceptional lights that tell us who the Milky Way has been and who it still becomes. High above the galactic disk, in the silent halo where space grows thin, there exist stars older than imagination, ultra-metal poor stars, relics from the galaxy's earliest days. These stars formed when the Milky Way was young from gas untouched by supernovae, pure hydrogen, and helium from the first breaths of the universe. They are dim and small, their light a faint whisper compared to the brilliance of the spiral arms. But their faintness hides endurance. Some are more than 13 billion years old, nearly as old as time itself. Their simplicity tells a story of beginning. They lack the heavy elements that younger stars carry, because those elements did not yet exist. They burn slowly, patiently, living through nearly all of cosmic history. Astronomers study them as archivists study ancient scrolls, reading in their spectra the chemistry of a universe just awakening. Imagine one of these stars shining faintly in the halo's quiet air, its light unchanged for eons, its orbit slow and distant, its heart still burning the same simple fuel. It is a survivor, a messenger from the dawn, carrying in its atoms the story of how the Milky Way began. In that sense, the oldest stars are not merely ancient. They are memory itself, the living fossils of starlight. Not all stars obey the calm order of the spiral. Some are flung into wild trajectories, moving so fast they can escape the Milky Way entirely. These are the hypervelocity stars, wanderers exiled from their orbits. Most are born near the galactic center, where the immense pull of Sagittarius A can act like a cosmic slingshot. When two stars orbit too close to the black hole, one may be captured, while the other is hurled outward at thousands of kilometers per second. It races through the galaxy, out of the disk, into the halo, and beyond. Imagine such a star, a blue streak of light cutting through interstellar darkness, its velocity carrying it toward the space between galaxies. It has no home now, no orbit to return to. It is a solitary traveler, its light crossing millions of years without destination. Other runaway stars are cast out by the explosions of companions. When one member of a binary system goes supernova, the other is flung free, continuing alone. The universe is gentle in its scale, but not without sudden change. Even in the Milky Way's calm rhythm, There are moments of force bursts of gravity that send stars flying, reminders that nothing here is truly fixed. And yet even those runaway lights still belong to the story. They trace invisible lines through the galaxy's halo, stitching distance with motion, proving that even exile has its place in the grand design. Among the billions of stars that fill the Milky Way, some move against the flow. While the majority orbit the center in one unified direction, these few drift the other way, a quiet defiance written in gravity. Their retrograde motion is not rebellion, but history. They are remnants of galaxies, long-absorbed foreign stars, adopted into the Milky Way's body through ancient mergers. Astronomers track them the way archaeologists uncover fossils mapping their orbits to reconstruct events billions of years old. These stars tell us of collisions and unions, the Gaia Sausage Merger, the infall of the Sagittarius Dwarf, and countless unnamed encounters lost to memory. Their orbits are elongated, their chemistry distinct, their paths carrying the imprint of origin. They are the immigrants of the galaxy, travelers from other systems woven now into our collective structure. You might imagine them as older voices within the chorus, singing in a slightly different rhythm, reminding the galaxy of the languages it once spoke. In this way, the Milky Way remembers its past, not through words or fossils, but through the motion of its stars. Each orbit is a story. Each deflection a memory of union. And you listening now are hearing that memory translated into the silence of the night sky. Far beyond the disk in the Milky Way's extended halo hover nearly 200 globular clusters. Ancient spherical swarms of stars, each older than most galaxies we can see. They are dense and compact, their cores so crowded that stars orbit mere light days apart. In their centers, gravity pulls in every direction at once, creating an almost liquid sphere of light. These clusters orbit the Milky Way like satellites of memory, the galaxy's oldest companions. Some formed alongside the Milky Way itself. Others were captured from smaller galaxies in ancient mergers. Each one is a fossilized remnant of the early universe. When you see a globular cluster through a telescope, it appears like a snowball of starlight, dense, bright, and infinitely delicate. The light you see from its outer edge began its journey before Earth existed. Some of their stars are nearly as old as the universe itself, their spectra showing minimal metals, their orbits tracing vast ellipses through the galactic halo. They are not young or restless. They are serene, stable, persistent, carrying the wisdom of billions of years. The Milky Way surrounds itself with these lights like a crown of ancient pearls. Their existence speaks to continuity, proof that the galaxy's beginnings are still present, circling quietly as time itself moves forward. Not all rare stars are far away. Some were once closer, so close that they shared the same birth cloud as our sun. The sun, like all stars, was born in a cluster, a family of siblings formed from one molecular cloud about 4.6 billion years ago. Over time, gravitational interactions scattered them through the galaxy. The cluster dissolved its members, becoming wanderers among the arms of the Milky Way. But those stars are still out there, scattered among billions, each carrying a chemical fingerprint identical to the sun's, a unique mix of elements born from the same nebular recipe. Astronomers now search for them for the lost siblings of the sun, using stellar chemistry as a kind of DNA test. A few candidates have been found, their light matching ours, their orbits distant but bound to the same galactic rhythm. It is strange and beautiful to think that somewhere out there, a star nearly identical to our own shines upon its own worlds, perhaps with oceans, perhaps with life, and that both began from the same cloud of dust and gas in the Milky Way's spiral arms. The galaxy is vast, but kinship endures. Even across light years, there remains connection. In this grand population of stars, diversity is not noise, it is structure. Young blue stars mark the Milky Way's places of creation. Old red giants trace its history of endurance. Runaways mark its moments of violence. Ancient halo stars preserve its first breath. Each type, each motion, each age is part of a balanced design. No single kind of star tells the whole story. Together they form a living map of time. The galaxy does not seek uniformity. Its harmony comes from variation, a celestial democracy of difference. Every light adds texture to the Milky Way's composition. Every orbit, no matter how erratic, belongs to the pattern. And so diversity becomes unity, not through sameness, but through participation in the whole. The stars of the Milky Way compose a chemical symphony. Their elements are notes in a vast evolutionary scale. The oldest stars play in the key of simplicity, hydrogen and helium, the pure tones of the early cosmos. Newer generations introduce richer chords, iron, carbon, oxygen, silicon. These metals shape the color of light, the temperature of stars, the possibility of worlds. The galaxy evolves not only in shape, but in harmony. Each cycle of star birth and death adds new layers of tone. The spiral arms are not just geometry, they are sound, made visible light, vibrating through history. And we, with our instruments, our ears tuned to radio and X-ray, listen to that long, patient melody still unfolding across space. Some stars live far from the disk in the Milky Way's extended halo, where light is sparse and the night eternal. These halo stars are old and eccentric, their orbits vast and tilted, crossing the disk at strange angles. They wander for billions of years, rarely touching the dense regions where new stars form. Their existence defines the galaxy's edge, a diffuse boundary where gravity still whispers, but light begins to thin. To float among them would be to stand at the shore of the infinite, the Milky Way beneath you, and the dark sea of intergalactic space beyond. Even there, in the farthest reaches, the galaxy continues. Faint, patient, complete. When you look at the Milky Way on a clear moonless night, you are not seeing a single moment. You are seeing billions of years layered together. The bright blue stars are the present, short-lived, youthful, radiant. The red and orange stars are the past, old and enduring light still arriving from an age when the earth was young. And the faintest glimmers at the edge are the memory of beginnings, light born near the start of time, still crossing the dark to reach us. The sky above is not only beautiful, it is historical. It is a museum of moments, each point of light a record of transformation. The Milky Way keeps no archives of words, no stone, no monument. Its memory is written in radiation, in the chemistry of stars, in orbits and metallicities, in the slow evolution of motion. Every observation is a translation of that galactic memory. Every glance upward is an act of reading. When you see a star, you are seeing the same kind of light that burns within you. The same hydrogen that fuses in its core flows in the water you drink. The same iron it forged beats in your blood. You and the stars are not separate things. You are one expression of the same ancient process. Some of the stars you see may contain matter once part of older suns that died before Earth existed. The Milky Way recycles itself endlessly. It is not merely a place, it is a continuity of being. And within that continuity, you are both observer and participant. You are what looks back at the galaxy and knows it is home. So the Milky Way glows not as one light, but as countless kinds of light. Old and young, slow and swift, faithful and wandering. Some stars are born pure and ancient. Some are rich with the dust of many deaths. Some are bound close to the core. Others drift beyond the edge. Together they form the living body of the galaxy, a spectrum of difference woven into one harmonious whole. It is easy to forget from our small place within it how vast that harmony truly is. But when you look at the night sky and see even a single star, you are seeing the Milky Way's diversity summed into one point of light. It shines for itself. It shines for the whole. And it shines for you. The galaxy continues its stars, changing its story, unfolding quietly, slowly, endlessly. The stars fade softly behind us. Their varied voices, ancient, swift, solitary, still echo in the mind like the memory of a song. And between those voices, between every shining point of light, there is silence. At least it seems that way. But the space between the stars is not empty. It is full, faintly, quietly, invisibly full. It is a vast ocean of gas dust, magnetic fields, and cosmic rays stretching across the Milky Way like breath. This is the interstellar medium, the fabric that binds everything together, the atmosphere of the galaxy. If the stars are the notes, then the interstellar medium is the space between them, the soft air that carries the sound, the quiet through which harmony moves. Invisible, but indispensable. It is the Milky Way's hidden symphony. Though unseen to the eye, the galaxy's magnetic fields permeate everything. They thread through clouds, follow spiral arms, and guide the flow of charged particles through the interstellar sea. Imagine invisible lines of force weaving through the galaxy, filaments of magnetism as delicate as spider silk, yet strong enough to shape the motion of gas across thousands of light years. These fields twist and tangle, rising from supernova shock waves, from stellar winds, from the rotation of the disk itself. They are self-sustaining, fed by the motion they control, a feedback of energy that endures for eons. When we observe polarized light from dust grains, we can see their pattern lines drawn across the sky, mapping an architecture of order hidden in the apparent chaos. Even the darkest nebulae are gently held in their structure, their clouds sculpted by magnetic tension. They prevent gas from collapsing too quickly, slowing creation to a sustainable rhythm. Without them, the galaxy would burn through its fuel in a single fevered age. Instead, these invisible filaments keep its breathing calm, its heart steady. They are the unseen strings of the Milky Way's instrument, vibrating silently, tuning the sound of creation. Through the interstellar medium, another unseen current flows. Cosmic rays, charged particles traveling at nearly the speed of light. They come from supernovae, from pulsars, and shock waves from the energetic edges of the galaxy. They move silently through gas and dust, ionizing atoms, creating faint glows of radiation. We cannot feel them directly, but they are everywhere, passing through us, through the Earth, through the spaces between stars. They shape chemistry in the galaxy's clouds, helping to form complex molecules, the first steps toward organic matter. In a quiet, indirect way, cosmic rays are sculptors of possibility. They may seem violent, born from explosions and extreme energy, but even they serve the rhythm of balance. They are the counterpoint to stillness, the pulse of vitality within silence. If the interstellar medium is breath, cosmic rays are its heartbeat, swift, unseen, and persistent. And though they travel for millions of years, their journey never ends in loss. They are absorbed, redirected, woven back into the fabric they traverse. Their whisper is constant, their presence eternal. The Milky Way's interstellar space is not smooth. It is textured, carved by explosions, stretched by winds, stitched together by filaments of gas. Supernovae blow vast cavities into the medium, enormous bubbles of hot plasma, tens or hundreds of light years wide. When many supernovae erupt in one region, these cavities join together, forming superbubbles that rise from the disk like chimneys, venting starlight into the halo. Through these chimneys, gas and dust escape, cooling as they ascend, falling back later in soft rain. It is the galaxy's respiratory system, inhalation through gravity, exhalation through energy. Between the bubbles and voids, long filaments remain cold threads of molecular gas winding like veins through the disk. They are the birthplaces of stars, compressed by the pressure of their surroundings. Each filament is a river of potential, its current moving slowly, its course traced by magnetic lines. If you could float within the interstellar medium, you would see none of this directly, only darkness and a faint haze. But in radio light and infrared, the structure becomes visible. Arches, shells, strands, waves, the galaxy's quiet architecture breathing in and out. The interstellar medium is not empty space. It is motion frozen in stillness. The Milky Way does not keep its gas still. It circulates it from the disk to the halo, from the halo back to the disk, in a process astronomers call the galactic fountain. When supernovae erupt, they send hot gas rising above the plane of the galaxy, lifting dust and metals into the halo. There it cools, slowly mixes with infalling intergalactic material, and eventually sinks again like gentle rain. Each droplet of returning gas carries with it the memory of stars long gone. Each fall replenishes the clouds that will one day form new suns. This upward and downward flow keeps the Milky Way alive, a circulation that prevents stagnation, a rhythm that sustains balance. Just as the tides of Earth renew the seas, so this cosmic tide renews the galaxy. And if you listen, if you imagine deeply enough, you might feel it, a slow inhalation, a soft exhalation, echoing across tens of thousands of light years. Even the galaxy must breathe. Even it must rest between pulses. Though the interstellar medium is filled with motion and energy, its signature is subtle. Its music plays not in brightness, but in polarization, in the faint alignment of light. When light passes through dust grains, aligned by magnetic fields, its vibration shifts a whisper of order, a hint of pattern. Through this polarization, astronomers can read the otherwise invisible texture of the galaxy. The cosmic microwave background, the relic light of the Big Bang, travels through the Milky Way's haze. It carries with it the faint imprint of those same dust grains, a soft distortion, a fingerprint of the medium's quiet hum. It is astonishing how much silence can reveal. The smallest deflection, the faintest pattern, becomes a voice in the language of the cosmos. If you were to stand in interstellar space between stars, you would hear nothing. No sound can travel there. And yet, there would be music-light oscillating particles, whispering fields, vibrating in rhythms beyond the ear. The void hums softly, not in sound, but in resonance. And everything within it, every planet, every cloud, every heart, vibrates with that same imperceptible tone. Within the interstellar medium, there is weather. Not the kind that shapes skies and rain, but patterns of pressure and temperature that sweep across light years. Hot gas expands into cool regions. Cold clouds condense and fall. Winds from massive stars carve paths through dust, leaving bright arched nebulae behind. Shock waves move through the disk like slow thunder, centuries-long pulses of invisible sound. These patterns do not rage. They drift. Even storms here move with the patience of eternity. Everywhere, the galaxy maintains balance motion without chaos turbulence that leads to form. Each fluctuation, each eddy of gas helps set the stage for the next generation of stars. And so, in the quietest regions, something is always beginning. Between the stars, the interstellar medium is a laboratory of chemistry. Within its coldest clouds, molecules form simple at first hydrogen, carbon monoxide, water. Then over time, more complex structures emerge: ethanol, formaldehyde, amino acids. The building blocks of life are assembled here long before they ever reach planets. These molecules cling to dust grains traveling through the galaxy like seeds awaiting soil. When new stars form, their light releases them, spreading them through newborn systems. Some will someday fall onto worlds like ours, where oceans and atmospheres will give them voice. So the interstellar medium, though it seems distant and abstract, is the true birthplace of life. It is the quiet chemistry from which all complexity grows. Even in the spaces between stars, there is intention not conscious but inevitable, a tendency toward form, a preference for connection. The interstellar medium exists in a state of delicate balance. Too dense, and it would collapse entirely, forming stars until none remained. Too thin, and no stars could form at all. It maintains itself between these extremes, a tension of opposites, a poised equilibrium. Within it, matter and energy exchange roles. What is hot expands. What is cold gathers. What shines fades. What fades in time will shine again. It is the most fragile harmony imaginable, and yet it has endured for billions of years. Perhaps this is why the Milky Way feels eternal. It has mastered the art of existing between extremes, a lesson both cosmic and human. Everything that exists passes through this space eventually. Gas from dying stars, dust from comets, light from every corner of the galaxy, all merge within the interstellar medium. It is the Milky Way's bloodstream, its carrier of stories. Every particle of it has been elsewhere, inside a star, inside a planet, perhaps inside life itself. To drift through that medium would be to move through memory. You would be surrounded by traces of everything that has ever burned, ever cooled, ever changed. The galaxy's interstellar medium is not emptiness. It is remembrance, a soft archive written in atoms. And when we study it, we are reading the autobiography of the Milky Way itself. The galaxy breathes through its medium, and so do we. We exist between extremes, between light and shadow motion, and stillness, density, and silence. Just as the interstellar medium carries both matter and energy, we too carry both the weight of memory and the lightness of possibility. What we think of as emptiness, the pauses between thoughts, the stillness between breaths, is not absence. It is space that holds everything together. The Milky Way reminds us of this in every quiet region between its stars, that stillness is not nothing but the necessary ground for all creation. So the Milky Way continues to hum. Between its luminous arms and along its quiet halo, the interstellar medium flows, gas and dust, magnetic fields and light cosmic rays, and molecules moving in patient harmony. You cannot see it with your eyes. You cannot feel it with your skin. And yet you are part of it. You breathe its descendants. You are made from its atoms. Every cell in your body was once part of that silent sea floating between stars, waiting to be gathered into something new. The interstellar medium is not the absence between stars. It is the space that allows stars to exist. It is the pause that gives music form. It is the stillness through which the universe dreams. The galaxy breathes through it. You breathe within it. And everything everywhere continues quietly, slowly, endlessly. The interstellar medium still drifts behind us, a quiet sea of dust and gas, a breath shared between stars. It hums softly, filling the galaxy with its invisible music. But now we rise above it, upward, outward, beyond the glowing arms of the Milky Way, where perspective widens and patterns unfold. From this height, the galaxy is not a scattered collection of stars, but a single graceful spiral, a luminous island in a dark ocean. And around it, there are other islands, other spirals, each turning slowly in the quiet sea of the cosmos. To understand the Milky Way, we must also understand its neighbors, its position, its place in the grand geography of existence. For no galaxy exists alone. Each one is part of a structure, a pattern extending beyond imagination. The interstellar medium fills the Milky Way, but beyond it lies the intergalactic medium, even thinner, even quieter, the space that connects galaxies to one another. It is there that the Milky Way's true context begins. The Milky Way is not solitary. It lives within a community, a small cluster of galaxies known as the local group. There are over 50 members, most of them small and dim, some bright enough to be seen with the naked eye. The largest two are our Milky Way and the Andromeda Galaxy spiral twins bound by gravity. Around them, smaller companions drift the Magellanic Clouds, the Triangulum Galaxy, and dozens of faint dwarf galaxies, each one orbiting the larger spirals like moons around planets. From afar, the local group resembles a loose constellation of light, its galaxies connected by faint streams of gas, their halos touching at the edges. Gravity binds them, but not tightly. They are free to move slowly, merging and separating in a cosmic dance that will take billions of years. The Milky Way and Andromeda are partners in this dance, two spirals circling a shared center of mass moving ever so gently toward one another. The local group is small by cosmic standards, a single cluster among thousands, but to us, it is home, the family of galaxies from which all our knowledge begins. And like any family, it is both intimate and vast. Far across space, the Andromeda Galaxy glows faintly in the night sky. It is the most distant object that human eyes can see, unaided, a pale blur in the constellation of its name. It lies about 2.5 million light-years away, but distance does not mean separation. Gravity bridges that gap, drawing Andromeda and the Milky Way slowly together. They approach one another at roughly 110 kilometers per second, a pace imperceptible from our perspective but inevitable over time. In 4 billion years they will meet. Their stars will not collide. There is too much space between them. But their gravity will intertwine. Their shapes will stretch and distort their spiral arms, merging into a vast, luminous cloud of starlight. For a time, the two galaxies will appear as one, a tangled pair spinning around a shared heart. Eventually, they will settle into a new form, an elliptical galaxy soft and glowing, its long arms absorbed into a smooth halo. Astronomers have already named it Milky Way, the union of our galaxy and Andromeda. It will not be the end, but a transformation. The stars will continue their orbits. The black holes at their centers will merge, and a new balance will emerge. Larger, slower, but equally serene. In that far future, perhaps new worlds will circle new suns. New beings will gaze upward and see one great galaxy where once there were two. The universe does not fear change. It thrives on it. It turns endings into continuations, and in this slow dance of galaxies, we see not destruction, but grace. The Milky Way and its neighbors do not float in emptiness. They are connected by filaments of matter, rivers of gas and dark matter that form the cosmic web. This web is the universe's skeleton, its underlying pattern. Galaxies form where these filaments intersect, where gravity gathers gas into luminous nodes. Through these invisible rivers, the Milky Way still receives new material streams of hydrogen flowing inward, feeding its slow star formation. At the same time, the galaxy sends gas outward, hot, enriched with elements to mingle with the intergalactic medium. This exchange sustains cosmic balance. Galaxies are not isolated systems. They are open, breathing structures in constant conversation with their surroundings. Even as stars form and die within the Milky Way, new gas from the web replenishes it, ensuring that the rhythm continues. In this way, the cosmic web is the circulatory system of the universe. Its threads extend for billions of light-years, linking galaxy to galaxy, cluster to cluster, in a silent network of motion. And through it all, light travels faint, persistent, connecting the whole into one vast organism. To map the cosmos, we must measure distance, the hardest dimension to grasp. We see the light of stars and galaxies, but without depth, the sky appears flat, a pattern without scale. Astronomers have learned to measure the universe through standard candles objects whose brightness is known. Cepheid variable stars pulse predictably, their rhythm revealing their true luminosity. By comparing that intrinsic light to what we observe, we can determine how far away they are. Type Ia supernovae, explosions of white dwarfs at a consistent peak brightness, serve as beacons even across galaxies. Their uniform light allows astronomers to map the vast distances between clusters. Through these methods, we've built a ladder of understanding from parallax in nearby stars to Cepheids in other galaxies to supernovae in the farthest reaches. This ladder extends from Earth to the edge of the observable universe, each rung built upon the precision of light. To map is to know place, and to know place is to understand belonging. When we measure the Milky Way's position among the cosmic web, we are not diminishing its mystery. We are recognizing its context, its participation in something larger. And perhaps in the act of measuring, we are also measuring ourselves, our smallness, our reach, our desire to see beyond. For centuries, we looked at the Milky Way from within, guessing its shape, its distances, its depth. We could not step outside it, so we learned to see from the inside out. Now we have eyes that can do what human vision never could. The Gaia mission. A space observatory launched by the European Space Agency is creating a three-dimensional map of our galaxy with extraordinary precision. Gaia measures the positions and motions of more than 2 billion stars, tracking their parallax as Earth moves around the Sun. From those small shifts, it derives distance, motion, and brightness, a living map of the Milky Way's structure and flow. Through Gaia's data, we can watch the galaxy breathe. We can see the slow ripple of its spiral arms, the motion of star streams from ancient mergers, the oscillation of the disk itself. For the first time, we are not just observers, we are cartographers of our own home in the universe. Yet even this knowledge does not end wonder. The more clearly we see, the more intricate the pattern becomes. Every measurement reveals more depth, more motion, more unspoken harmony. The galaxy is not static. It is alive, a river of stars and dust, curving and shifting across time. And Gaia's map is not a snapshot. It is a breathing portrait, a moment in a symphony of motion that will continue long after we are gone. Beyond the local group lies a larger structure, still the local sheet, a flattened region of galaxies flowing together through space. And beyond that, the Virgo supercluster, an immense assembly of thousands of galaxies, each with its own families and histories. The Milky Way is but one note in that cosmic chord. Its light, though vast to us, is a whisper among countless others. And yet that whisper matters. Without each note, the harmony would be incomplete. Without each galaxy, the cosmic web would lose coherence. The universe in all its enormity is composed of relationships, connections between lights, gravity linking one system to another, each part influencing the whole. We are not apart from that pattern. We are within it, woven into its gravitational fabric. Even our smallest thoughts of wonder echo the structure of the cosmos, the desire to connect, to understand, to belong. From our small world, the Milky Way appears infinite. From the Milky Way, the universe appears infinite still. Scale is relative, but awe is constant. Each time we expand our view, we find not emptiness, but continuation. And in each widening circle from solar system to galaxy, from galaxy to cluster, from cluster to web, the same laws hold true: gravity, light motion, and balance. The universe does not change its language as it grows more complex. it repeats with subtle variation the same quiet equations. And perhaps this is the deepest comfort, that the Milky Way, with all its detail and history, is not alone in pattern or in peace. It is one of many harmonies in the grand orchestration of space. Mapping is an act of intimacy. To chart a galaxy is to trace its pulse, to follow the flow of its energy and the weight of its form. The Milky Way maps itself through us. Our instruments, our telescopes, our curiosity. These are extensions of the galaxy's own awareness, ways it comes to know its shape through the beings it produced. When Gaia plots the paths of stars, when radio telescopes trace hydrogen across the arms, when we image the faint glow of Andromeda, we are the galaxy learning to see itself. This is not metaphor. It is continuity. The same matter that burns in the stars thinks and dreams within us. We are the luminous dust realizing its origin. All this, the local group, the cosmic web, the three-dimensional map of billions of stars, can seem distant beyond reach. But the human act of looking upward has always been enough. A single gaze toward the night sky contains the same essence as every telescope ever built. Wonder is the bridge between the finite and the infinite. And though we cannot leave the Milky Way, we can imagine it completely, its spiral arms curving around us, its quiet heart at the center, its halo breathing into the dark. In imagination, we already stand outside it, seeing the whole. Every star chart, every cosmic map, every trajectory we trace is a way of saying, we are part of this. Mapping the universe is not an act of control, but of belonging. It is how the galaxy remembers its shape through us. We chart its arms to feel their symmetry. We measure its distances to comprehend our connection. We name its companions to recognize the family we share. In every coordinate, there is reverence. In every discovery, there is stillness. So the Milky Way drifts through space, surrounded by neighbors, linked by invisible threads, mapped by minds born of its own light. It is one member of a family, one voice in a cosmic choir, one swirl of stars in the endless fabric of the universe. We have seen its context now, its web, its companions, its path toward union and renewal. And still, it turns calm as breath, steady as time. The galaxy does not rush to its future. It glides toward it, guided by gravity, bathed in the faint glow of a billion suns. And we who map its form and whisper its story are part of that same movement, tracing the lines of connection that have always been there. The Milky Way belongs to the cosmos, and we belong to it. Together we travel quietly, slowly, endlessly. The map of the Milky Way fades gently in the mind. Its arms, its halo, its cosmic neighbors drift like remembered music. We've seen where we live in the curve of a spiral in a web that stretches through darkness. Now we turn inward again, not to the heart of the galaxy, but to a smaller, quieter question. Here, in the wide stillness of the Milky Way, where could life take root? Where among 200 billion suns might warmth, stability, and time combine to make awareness possible? The universe creates abundantly. Stars are born endlessly. Planets form naturally from the dust they leave behind. And yet, the conditions for life, for something as fragile and complex as us, require a balance as delicate as light itself. Life needs not only chemistry, but calm, not only heat, but steadiness, not only time, but protection from what burns too bright. Somewhere between the galaxy's radiant heart and its quiet star, poor edge, there lies such a place, a gentle middle, a cosmic temperate zone. Astronomers call it the galactic habitable zone. Too close to the galactic center, and the night is never dark. There stars crowd together, supernovae burst often, and black holes stir the interstellar air. Radiation fills every corner, and the orbits of worlds are easily disturbed. Too far from the center and the opposite danger arises scarcity. Few stars form, few heavy elements exist to build rocky planets or water-bearing moons. There, the galaxy thins into emptiness and creation slows. Between these extremes, roughly halfway along the spiral arms, the Milky Way offers balance enough metals to build complexity enough calm to sustain it. Our sun lies here in this quiet median, a gentle neighborhood where life can breathe and think. It is neither the innermost nor the outermost place. It is simply the right distance from chaos and from void, the same way Earth lies between fire and frost. The galaxy, it seems, has its own version of a habitable zone, a region where the great cosmic rhythms are slow enough, soft enough for life to listen. Stars are not all alike in their composition. Some are rich in heavier elements, carbon, oxygen, iron, silicon. Others are made mostly of hydrogen and helium, untouched by the long history of stellar alchemy. Astronomers call this property metallicity, a measure of how many generations of stars have come before. High metallicity means abundance dust and elements that can form rocky planets, minerals that make continents, and molecules that can bind and fold into living forms. But metallicity is not just about potential. It also carries risk. Regions with too many massive stars produce too much radiation, too many supernovae, too many disturbances that can sterilize newborn worlds. Again, balance is required. Enough metals to make planets, not so many explosions to destroy them. The Milky Way's habitable zone is defined by this equilibrium, a belt of moderate metallicity and relative calm. Our sun, born from gas, enriched by countless ancient deaths, has just the right composition. Its planets reflect that heritage: stone water, carbon, and light. We are not rare because we are exceptional. We are rare because conditions met gently, perfectly, for just long enough. Throughout the galaxy, stars live and die with great force. A supernova is beautiful from afar, but deadly nearby. Its burst of radiation can strip atmospheres, disrupt chemistry, and end life on any world within light years. In dense regions of the inner disk, such explosions are frequent. Stars live close together, their endings echoing through the interstellar gas like thunder in a canyon. Here life would find little peace, too many shocks, too much light, too little time. But farther out, where stars are more widely spaced, the storms grow rare. The intervals between catastrophe lengthen. Energy softens into balance. Our sun orbits through one of these calmer zones, where no nearby supernova has erupted for hundreds of millions of years. It is not luck alone. The galaxy's structure, its arms, its density, waves creates natural rhythms of peace and renewal. Even within vast systems, serenity emerges as a pattern. It is in that long silence between explosions that molecules can learn to live, oceans can form, and time can stretch into consciousness. The sun's path around the galaxy is steady and safe. It moves in the mid-plane of the disk about 26,000 light-years from the center, completing one orbit every 225 million years, a galactic year. In that time, continents on Earth drift, species rise and fade. Oceans open and close. And yet, the sun continues calm, predictable, its orbit nearly circular. It does not plunge into the dense inner arms. It does not stray to the barren edge. It glides through the Orion Spur, a minor lane between greater arms, a region of balanced conditions. This path protects us. It keeps our solar system away from dangerous gravitational tides, away from crowded clusters and colliding clouds. Even our small tilt relative to the galactic plane offers stability, a slow oscillation through the disk's gentle thickness, ensuring that we spend most of our time in relative quiet. The sun is not the galaxy's center, but it carries a center of its own, a steady light around which life can flourish. In the cosmic scale, this quiet orbit is sanctuary. It is the stillness in which consciousness can grow. If our position, our chemistry, our quiet, sun allow life here, might not the same be true elsewhere? The Milky Way contains billions of stars like ours, each with planets, some small, rocky, bathed in similar light. Even if only a fraction of those worlds reside in their own stellar habitable zones, the number is enormous. Thousands of Earth-like planets may turn beneath alien skies this very moment. Some may carry seas, some clouds, some silence. Some may carry awareness. Life could be rare, but the galaxy is vast enough that rarity still means abundance. Even 1 in a billion means hundreds of worlds with oceans and rain. We do not yet know their names. We do not yet hear their signals. But they may look up too into their own night sky, seeing the faint band of the Milky Way stretching across, and wonder as we do if someone else is watching. Perhaps the quiet we hear is not absence, but timing. Perhaps civilizations like stars have lifespans, and ours has only just begun. The galaxy holds its secrets patiently. It does not hurry to answer. It allows discovery to unfold at the speed of understanding, and in that patience, there is comfort that we are not alone in the search. The question of life is not only scientific, it is philosophical, it is poetic. The Milky Way offers every ingredient: hydrogen, carbon, oxygen, nitrogen, stable, light, liquid, water time. The rest is combination, and combination is inevitable. Given enough space, enough repetition, enough quiet, life arises. We are not the exception. We are the expression. We are the galaxy finding one of its many ways to awaken. Somewhere other awakenings occur slowly, softly, perhaps under redder suns, perhaps within clouds of methane or ammonia, perhaps in oceans beneath ice. They may not breathe as we do, but they belong to the same rhythm of being. The galaxy does not discriminate. It gives its chemistry freely. It allows life to write its own verse in the universal song. For all its possibility, life is fragile. It depends on the narrowest margins, temperature, pressure, distance, chemical stability. Too much radiation and molecules break apart. too little energy and reactions freeze into silence. The galaxy's habitable zone is not a promise but an invitation. It says, here the conditions are right. Here there is time enough. Whether life appears is up to the quiet processes of chance and persistence. And yet perhaps fragility is part of beauty. What lasts forever often becomes unchanging. What is delicate teaches reverence. Life's impermanence makes it precious. The Milky Way seems to understand this, for it preserves both the chaos that creates and the calm that sustains. Everywhere you look in every region of the galaxy, you find the same elements repeating: hydrogen, carbon, oxygen, nitrogen, iron. They are arranged differently, but they are always there. These are the letters of the galactic language. Stars write with them. Planets write with them. Life writes with them too. The water that flows on Earth is not unique. The methane that clouds Titan. The carbon that forms diamonds. The iron that flows through our veins. All are cosmic constants. The Milky Way uses a small vocabulary but infinite grammar. And through that grammar, it tells endless stories of stars of planets of life that observes and wonders. We are one such sentence still unfolding. The existence of life requires both law and accident. Gravity gathers matter. Chemistry arranges it. Time gives it room. But chance chooses the details. The Milky Way offers the stage, but not the script. It provides the balance between chaos and order, between destruction and peace. In that balance, the improbable becomes real. The random becomes rhythm. The fragile becomes eternal. Perhaps this is the galaxy's greatest wisdom, that from the interplay of inevitability and surprise comes everything that breathes. When we imagine life elsewhere, we are also imagining reflections of ourselves. We project what we know, and in doing so, we learn what we are. Every exoplanet discovered, every trace of atmosphere detected, is a mirror showing us the range of existence the galaxy allows. Somewhere life may have evolved differently, shaped by deeper oceans, by gentler stars, by slower clocks of time. But the essence remains pattern, adaptation, curiosity. In that shared tendency, we are already connected. Across millions of light years, the galaxy is quietly aware of itself through the eyes of any being that can look up. Perhaps the purpose of life is not survival alone, but awareness. To look back at the cosmos and know it exists. Every conscious creature is a point of recognition, a node in the galaxy's growing understanding of itself. Through us, the Milky Way perceives its own beauty. Through us, it knows its own vastness. When you gaze at the stars are also in a way gazing at themselves. Light meets mind, matter meets meaning. The universe becomes aware through the very beings it creates. So here we are in the quiet middle of the galaxy, in the calm between radiation and void. Our world turns under a steady star, bathed in just enough warmth, sheltered by just enough distance. The Milky Way carries billions of such possibilities, and we are one of them, one small success in a grand experiment of time and chemistry. We are not apart from the galaxy's life. We are its continuation. We are the matter that has learned to wonder. And as we breathe beneath its light, we keep its awareness alive, a quiet thought within an endless mind. The galaxy holds us gently within its spiral of calm and chance. And the question of other life, of who else may breathe this same starlight, remains open, beautiful, unhurried. The Milky Way continues its turn, soft as breath, constant as time, whispering possibility through the dark, quietly, patiently, endlessly. The thought of life drifts softly behind us, now that tender idea of other worlds, of other eyes, looking up through their own skies. It lingers like a whisper, like starlight that travels too far to fade completely. And as that thought fades, another rises in its place. How much of the Milky Way do we truly see? What remains hidden? What lies behind the veils of dust and distance? What glows beyond the limits of our eyes? For every star we recognize, there are countless more concealed. The night sky, we know, is only the surface, a single shimmering skin upon an ocean too deep for sight. We live within the Milky Way, wrapped in its arms, bathed in its light. But like fish in the sea, we cannot see the shape of the water that holds us. The galaxy surrounds us completely, and from inside it becomes both everything and mystery. From Earth, we see the Milky Way as a glowing band crossing the night sky. It looks like a river of smoke spilling from horizon to horizon, pale and infinite. But that band is only the thin plane of our galaxy seen from inside. We look along its disk, peering through layers of stars, through lanes of dust that dim their light. Imagine standing in a forest so vast you can see only the trees nearest to you. Beyond them, shadows and silhouettes stretch endlessly. You know there are more, but their shapes blur together into one. So it is with the Milky Way. We see the nearby stars clearly, but distance erases distinction. Light weakens, absorbed by clouds of dust, scattered by interstellar grains. Even the clearest night sky is not clarity, it is an illusion of depth. We are looking sideways through the great spiral that shelters us. If we could rise far above it, we would see its full grace, the luminous arms, the gentle bulge at the center, the faint halo beyond. But from here we see only a fragment, a single bright thread of the tapestry that holds us, and yet even that fragment is enough to inspire wonder. Sometimes seeing part of the whole is more beautiful than seeing all. The human eye captures only a narrow band of light, a sliver of the spectrum that the universe uses to speak. To see the rest, we have built new eyes telescopes that perceive the invisible. Optical light shows us the stars themselves, the shimmering constellations, the scattered clusters. But it is easily blocked by dust, leaving dark lanes across the spiral arms. Infrared light slips through that dust, revealing hidden stars and warm clouds where new suns are born. In infrared, the galaxy glows softly like embers seen through smoke. Radio waves go farther still. They show us the vast hydrogen clouds that make up the galaxy's skeleton, the quiet architecture beneath the light. Through radio astronomy, we trace the Milky Way's spiral arms long before we could see them. X-rays and gamma rays reveal the violent side of the galaxy's supernova remnants, neutron stars, and the energetic heart near Sagittarius A. They are the signatures of power, the bright flares that mark where energy reshapes matter. Each wavelength tells a different story. Together, they weave a fuller picture, a symphony of light. Each tone revealing a hidden harmony. And still, no single image is complete. The galaxy is too vast, its layers too intertwined, its light too varied. We can only glimpse facets of its truth through instruments tuned to slivers of reality. Our sight expands, but the mystery deepens. For centuries, astronomers have tried to count the stars. They have looked upward, recorded their positions, traced their motion. But every count ends in humility. The Milky Way contains perhaps 1 to 400 billion stars, and maybe as many planets, each one a possible world, each one a spark of persistence. To count them is to count waves in the sea, to number grains of sand in wind. Even our most precise measurements are approximations, like trying to measure the ocean with a single cup. Yet in that act of counting, there is reverence. We count not to own, but to understand, to feel the immensity of what surrounds us. And the numbers, though staggering, do not diminish beauty. They deepen it. Each one of those billions is a small flame burning calmly in the dark. If you could see them all at once, the night would not be night. It would be pure light. And perhaps that is what eternity is, not darkness, but light too full to perceive. Across the Milky Way's bright band run streaks of darkness, dust lanes woven like smoke through the stars. They look like voids, but they are full dense regions of carbon and silicate the same elements that one day form planets and life. They shape the galaxy's appearance, casting shadows through the light, creating contrast, depth, mystery. Without dust, the Milky Way would be too bright, too uniform. Its beauty comes from concealment, from the interplay of light and shadow. We look up and see a flat sky, a two-dimensional sheet of brilliance. But in truth, it is layered beyond measure. Each star lies at a different distance, each cloud a different depth. The night is not flat, but folded 1,000 veils of distance, a tapestry of time. Even the darkness between stars is an illusion. There, in what seems empty, float particles of dust atoms, of hydrogen waves, of faint radiation. Even silence has structure. And so when you gaze upward, you are looking through 1,000 transparent worlds. Each one adds its subtle texture until all of space becomes a single luminous surface. We are creatures of small scale. Our minds evolved to hold rooms, fields, rivers, not galaxies. To imagine the Milky Way in its entirety is to stretch the mind beyond its comfort, to hold billions of suns and light years of distance as if they were a single thought. Even our most powerful instruments translate the unfathomable into the familiar images, diagrams, spirals drawn on screens. They are metaphors, models, simplifications of what cannot be seen whole. And yet these imperfect maps help us approach the truth. They are the language of awe bridges between knowing and feeling. Perhaps it is not meant for us to see the whole at once. Perhaps beauty lies in gradual revelation, in the partial, the hinted, the unseen. The galaxy hides itself not to keep secrets, but to remind us that discovery is a journey, not a destination. Some stars in the Milky Way are so distant that their light has not yet reached us. Others may have died long ago, their final light still crossing space, arriving now as if from ghosts. The galaxy we see tonight is a mixture of times present, past, and almost past, a layered image woven by the finite speed of light. We look at history every time we look up. The starlight on your eyes left its source before humanity began to speak. Even as we watch the stars change, the galaxy turns, the night renews itself. What we see is never what is. It is always what was. This delay, this distance in time, is part of the poetry of astronomy. It teaches patience, a kind of trust in the continuity of being. The galaxy reveals itself slowly, light year by light year, moment by moment. It knows that some truths are too vast to rush. Not all seeing is done with eyes. Some of the most profound vision arises in darkness, from equations, from radio waves, from data invisible to human sense. Astronomers listen as much as they look. They hear the hydrogen lines at 21 centimeters. They trace the microwave hum of the universe's birth. They measure gravitational waves rippling through the fabric of space. Each signal adds another layer to vision. Each discovery makes the unseen a little more known. To see without light is to expand the definition of perception. It is to understand that the cosmos is not silent, only subtle. And as we learn to hear it, we also learn humility. We realize how narrow our senses are, how much the universe exceeds them. The galaxy teaches us to trust what lies beyond appearance, to know that the invisible can be as real as the visible and often more essential. We speak often of light, starlight, sunlight, the glow of galaxies, but darkness is its equal partner. Without darkness, light would have no boundary, no meaning, no relief. The galaxy's beauty depends on shadow. The dust that hides also reveals. The void between stars gives context to their glow. Even dark matter, though unseen, shapes everything. It holds the galaxy together, it sculpts its form. The universe is a collaboration between what shines and what does not. And so too in perception. We see by contrast. We understand by what is hidden. We grow through the spaces where certainty fades. Darkness is not absence. It is the quiet half of existence. To look into the Milky Way is to look into ourselves. Its limits reflect our own. Its unseen depths mirror the uncharted spaces of thought. Just as we cannot see the far side of the galaxy, we cannot see the far side of our own consciousness. Both are explored through inference, through faint reflections, through patience. And in both, the unknown is vast, not frightening, but infinite. When we study the galaxy, we are studying perception itself. We are learning how awareness expands when it meets mystery. Perhaps that is why starlight feels familiar, because in some quiet way it resembles thought. Both travel far through darkness. Both illuminate from within, both bridge distance without touching. There is comfort in knowledge, but there is also peace in what remains unknown. The Milky Way will never be fully mapped, never entirely seen, never perfectly understood. And that is as it should be. Its mystery is part of its truth. Its invisibility is part of its beauty. For every hidden star, for every unseen planet, for every unmeasured field of dust, there exists a possibility, a place where imagination lives. Science explores, but imagination completes. The unknown is the space where wonder grows. To know everything would be to end discovery. to know enough to keep seeking, that is harmony. The Milky Way offers both knowledge and mystery, light and shadow, presence and distance. And in that balance, we find serenity. So we look up again, and the galaxy looks back, half revealed, half hidden. Its light reaches us through veils of dust, through centuries of travel, through layers of time. What we see is never the whole, but always enough. We stand within its body, unable to see its face, and still we recognize it by its rhythm, its pull, its endless turning. The Milky Way teaches us to accept partial vision, to find beauty in limitation. It reminds us that understanding need not be complete to be profound. Even the unseen belongs to the whole. Even what we cannot grasp is part of what we are. And so the night stretches above, vast and tender, a tapestry of known and unknown woven together in quiet harmony. The galaxy continues its turn, hidden and visible shadow, and shine quietly, slowly, endlessly. You've traveled far tonight, through clouds and clusters, through spirals and silence, through the unseen and the infinite. The Milky Way now rests behind your thoughts, a slow turning of light beyond the edges of sleep. It no longer asks to be understood. It simply hums quiet and complete like a tide too vast to end. Breathe. Let the breath move easily as planets move around their stars, as stars drift around their center, as all things turn in patient balance. The night sky above it does not watch, it does not judge, it simply continues. And you, small and radiant, continue within it. The same atoms that burn in distant suns flow softly in your blood. The same dust that forms the arms of galaxies settles gently within your bones. You are not beneath the stars. You are part of them, a thought the universe is still having. Even now, the earth turns beneath you, carrying you quietly through the dark. You are moving at hundreds of kilometers a second, and yet it feels still. It feels safe. The Milky Way moves to around unseen centers through the black fabric of the cosmos. Everything drifts together. Nothing is lost. Let that thought linger, that nothing is lost. That every breath, every flicker of light, every quiet heartbeat joins the endless rhythm of the whole. In this moment, you are aligned with everything, with dust, with darkness, with radiance. You are as much a part of the galaxy's motion as the stars themselves. The night deepens. Your body softens. Thoughts fade like distant suns, sliding beyond the horizon of mind. There is no need to reach farther. The universe is already here within, around, through. It hums beneath the silence. It turns with your pulse. Let go of names now. Let go of numbers and stars and questions. Let the galaxies drift where they will. They have done so forever. They will continue forevermore. All that remains is stillness. And in stillness, a kind of peace. Quiet, slow, endless. If you are still awake, you may listen to another journey among the stars. If your eyes grow heavy, you may rest. The galaxy will go on turning calm and eternal while you drift through your own orbit of dreams. Sleep now beneath the Milky Way. It shines quietly for you.